So I wanted to use this video as an excuse to talk about my Amiibo collection. I don't actually collect a whole lot of things, but Amiibos is one of the few things that I actually got into collecting a little bit, at least for a little while there. I don't really collect them hardcore as much now, and that's why I don't have like a whole lot, as you'll see in a minute here, but I have quite a few, and so I figured I would just kind of go through them and talk about, you know, how I got them, why I got them, and all that fun stuff. I have two little lovely little bins here, full of Amiibo. Don't mind this. This is just like, I don't know, dirt, something. Yeah, and I labeled them Amiibo 1, Amiibo 2, because I'm very organized, as you can see. But we're gonna open up this box and just kind of look at what's inside here. So yeah, I thought I would just kind of go through each one of these, because I have quite a few that I have some background about why I got them. Maybe not all of them, but a few definitely. So in this box, at least, I think I'm gonna open up this box because I wanna find the Amiibo that I know I got first, and I believe it's this one right here. This Mario Amiibo. This was obviously one of the first batch of Amiibo. If you didn't know what Amiibo is, I guess I could explain for anyone that doesn't know. They're basically little figures that Nintendo first started producing in 2014. They're basically Nintendo's take on Skylanders, the Toys to Life phenomenon that was getting really popular around that time. So Nintendo made a bunch of little figures called Amiibo, which basically showed off a lot of their more popular characters and some not as popular characters, and we'll see that obviously. But this was one of the first Amiibos in the first batch of Amiibo that they ever released. The Super Smash Bros. Line came out on the same day as Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and Nintendo 3DS and Wii U. And the novelty of these Amiibos is that they look like the trophies of the characters in the game. So obviously in Smash Bros. You got a ton of different characters from a ton of different franchises. And the cool thing about these Amiibos is that they literally are depicting the characters in their you know, the pose that they're in their trophies in the game, and like their models and character art and all that. And I thought that was really cool. Don't mind the dust. But yeah, I thought it was really cool, so I instantly wanted to pick up some Amiibos of my own, and this was one of the first ones that I got. And I say one of the first ones because I distinctly remember getting, I believe, either 2 or 3 on the first day that I picked up some Amiibo. I remember I got the Super Smash Bros. For Wii U game on Christmas of 2014, which was about a month after the game came out, so that was an excruciating wait. But I got it for Christmas that year, and then later on, I went to Toys R Us with my family, and I asked if I could get a few Amiibo figures. And at the time, what was really cool about Amiibo and Toys R Us specifically is that they would have this deal where typically Amiibos would retail for, I believe, like $12.99 at the start, at least. Now they go for a lot more, or at least certain Amiibos go for a lot more than that. Yeah, at the time they were $13 pretty much, or $12.99. And they had this deal at Toys R Us where if you got 3, or if you bought 2, they would give you a third one essentially for free. So you would pay 2, you get 3. And I thought that was really cool, so it was just an excuse for me to buy a lot of Amiibos. So I ended up buying 2. I believe I got this one first, and I believe the Donkey Kong Amiibo that we see here. I think I got these 2 at the same time, and then I don't quite remember what the third one was. I want to say it was either this Pikachu Amiibo, or it could have been like Kirby. I know I have Kirby somewhere, and I'll pull it out eventually. But yeah, so these 3, I'm just gonna, for now, we're just gonna keep it simple and say that these 3 were my first ever Amiibo. They certainly were within the first few Amiibo that I got. Amiibo, whatever you want to say. I believe the technical correct way to say it is Amiibo, like plural. Like Amiibo is already plural. You don't have to say Amiibos, but I still do because I'm a normie, or whatever you want to call it. God, I can't believe I just said normie. Okay, whatever. We're not even gonna draw attention to that. So yeah, but this Mario Amiibo I'm very I have a lot of attachment to, because it just kind of represents, you know, that time period, and like, you know, how gleeful and giddy I was to, you know, own a Wii U and all these figures and games that I loved a lot. And you know, I just have a strong affinity for that time. This Donkey Kong amiibo looks very wonky. I don't know if you can, the eyes just look kind of weird. But still, like, the thing I like about these amiibos is that they, you know, they were fairly high quality figures. You know, despite some of the scratches I have from just owning them for a while. You know, they were fairly high quality figures, and they were Nintendo made, and that just made them a lot more novel to own. You know, like I already said, they were modeled after the trophies in the game, which were already in the Smash Brothers game, which were already like, you know, like little toys in your game. And so having them in real life was like, whoa, this is awesome. So, you know, I really enjoyed collecting them for a bit there. As you can see right here, have the Kirby. This was another one that I picked up from that buy two get one free deal at Toys R Us. So, you know, and I wasn't a huge Kirby fan at the time, but it was one of the main amiibos that they had at the time, so I was really excited to get this one. I still wanted it. That is more what I'm trying to say. This Samus amiibo. So, from what I understand about Samus amiibos at the time, and I got, again, this is another one that I got through the buy two get one free deal, and I do want to go through those first. So that's the only reason why I'm going through all of those first. But this Samus amiibo, I was really proud at the time that I owned this one, because I believe that there was a weird manufacturing error for Samus amiibo at the time. Also, FYI, or by the way, I'm going to be shifting between pronouncing it amiibos and amiibo a lot during this video, so hopefully that doesn't get too annoying. I'm not doing it on purpose. I just do it. But anyway, yeah. So at the time, Samus amiibo were having this manufacturing error where I believe both of her arms would be, like, I don't exactly remember what the error was. It could have been something with her legs, like one of her legs would be detached easily, or her arms would be the same, like one of them wouldn't have the blaster, or both of them would have the blaster, or something like that. Both of them would not have it, or have it, something along those lines. And it made owning like these amiibo kind of novel, but I guess it was more so if you had a defective one, then it was novel. But I think it caused a lot of people to go out and buy Samus amiibo either way, and so I was happy that I got a chance to buy one while they were still, like, you know, on the market. And because another thing about amiibo is that Nintendo was really bad at the time about producing a lot of them. Here's a Link amiibo that I got. And so there would be these huge, like, droughts in product for amiibo, and, you know, they would be there one day, and then immediately the next day they would all be gone, because they were really novel to collect at the time. And, you know, obviously I'm guilty of being a part of that problem. As you can see here, this was another one I got in that Toys R Us deal. And so, you know, a lot of people would go out and buy them, and, you know, especially when they had ones like the Samus amiibo that had like this product defect, a lot of people would go out and buy them. And so I was really happy for the fact that, you know, I didn't have to like search the internet for a freaking Samus amiibo. I was just able to go to Toys R Us and find one on the shelf there, and it was normal priced. It wasn't overpriced from like a scalper or anything. So that was really cool. This Yoshi amiibo, another one that I got at the time around the same time. I'm definitely happy to own this one. Love Yoshi. And I think no, because I think this Luigi amiibo, I think that this one came out in the second wave of amiibo, because they did release them in waves. Like the first wave included like Mario and Donkey Kong and Pikachu and a lot of the more well-known characters from Smash Brothers. But then in wave 2, which I believe came out a couple months later, they started releasing some of the lesser talked about characters, I guess. I mean, Luigi is obviously still a really popular character in Smash Brothers and just in Mario in general, but, you know, he's also like a lot of times seen as an unlockable character. And so they released amiibos of characters like him and, you know, other unlockable characters later down the line. And so I believe I got this one later down the line. But still happy, you know, I was like, I have to own, if I own Mario, I have to own Luigi. I mean, like, that's a given. This Bowser amiibo, I think I picked up around the same time as Luigi. I don't think I picked it up in the first batch. But I do think I think it came out during the, like, around the time as Mario and all of them. But I didn't pick it up until later. I love the Bowser amiibo because it's so freaking huge. Like, when you compare it to a lot of the other ones, like, even like standing next to Mario, you can see the size difference and how freaking bulky. Like, it's actually, like, there's actually some girth. I don't know if that's the right word. There's actually some weight to the Bowser amiibo that you don't see with a lot of the other ones. Like, the other ones, like, you just pick it up and it's really light. This one, there is a little bit of weight to it, and I like that because it's, you know, it's a bulky, it's a quality, bulky, you know, dense figure. So it's a good figure, and I'm glad, you know, like, despite like like some of the dust that I got on them, you know, I like to think I take pretty good care of them. So, you know, they're still definitely, like, I can enjoy them and look at them. And, you know, I don't have a very good way to display my amiibo right now, and that's kind of why I just keep them in bins. But, you know, nevertheless, like, it works. This Fox amiibo, I remember getting around the same time as, you know, the Toys R Us deal ones that I got. And I'm also really proud to own this one, because I don't think this one was, I don't think there are as many of these as there are the other characters in Smash Brothers, just because Star Fox wasn't that popular of a franchise, or, like, there wasn't any Star Fox games coming out at the time. Well, Star Fox Zero obviously came out, but that was kind of a kind of game, and so not a lot of people liked it or played it. So, you know, and therefore they didn't make a lot of Fox amiibos because no one really knew who Fox was, and if you did, then you probably bought it right away, and then, you know, there weren't that many in stock left, so kind of just had to deal with it. But yeah, I was one of the people that picked it up because I was like, well, I need another amiibo to include in the buy two get one free deal, so Fox it is, I guess. So and, you know, nowadays I know more about Star Fox, so I'm proud to own this one. I'm going to be saying that about all of these. But, you know, I really do, like, enjoy, like, this is one of the few things that I enjoy collecting, just because, you know, I love Nintendo, love their games, and, you know, I love their characters, so owning these figures makes me a happy man. This Diddy Kong amiibo, I don't quite remember when I got this one, but I think it's the way that its eyes look are really funny. Like, I can't be the only one that thinks its eyes just look a little off. But look at that, it's got a little Nintendo logo on his hat and all that. It's just a little Diddy Kong. what I like about these Donkey Kong figures is that they're a little bit more textured than the other ones. I mean, obviously, you know, like with Pikachu, there's not really a reason to give him texture, like you kind of just make him smooth. But with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, there's definitely some, like, they have textured bodies, and, you know, you can feel like, you know, that's supposed to, you know, emulate how their fur or whatever. And I just think that's kind of neat. So, yeah. What else we got? We got Captain Falcon. I believe this one was a little bit more rare than others, and same reason for, like, Fox. You know, Fox, there weren't a lot of Star Fox games coming out at the time. And so his amiibo wasn't as popular, but then there wasn't as many of them, so it was popular in a sense. Same thing with Captain Falcon. I don't actually remember how I got this one, but I feel like, at least with this one, and, you know, definitely some other ones, it was a matter of me seeing a Captain Falcon amiibo. You know, not very common that you see one, and I was just like, Mom, I need this. What if it's not there tomorrow? And that's how I would convince her to get it for me. And then yeah, and then here we are today. So, you know, that's that. What else do we got here that I can talk about? I have a Zelda amiibo here, and, you know, I really like the Zelda amiibo. I don't own a Peach amiibo, and I know that, you know, some people might think, well, okay, who cares? I care, because I don't know why, but Peach is just, like, I remember seeing a lot of Peach amiibo in the store, or just at random stores in the electronics section, and I always remember, like, I don't want to get that one because Peach, I don't know how else to say it. This is gonna make me sound sexist as hell, but at the time, at least, I was like, Peach is a girly character. I don't want to get Peach, but I got Zelda because Zelda's badass. But nowadays I'm just like, man, I should have picked one up because I never see them anymore. And you know, it's like it would have been so easy for me to just buy one. But what are you gonna do? Toon Link. Yeah, it's definitely Toon Link. Yeah, I'm not like the hugest Zelda fan. I mean, like, I definitely like Zelda, and I have an appreciation for the series, but I'm not like a hugest fan, so, you know, I don't have a lot to say about why I got them. I think it was just like, well, I don't have this one, might as well get it. Same case with this Zero Suit Samus amiibo. I was like, you know, sure, I already have the regular Samus amiibo. I gotta get the Zero Samus amiibo, Zero Suit Samus amiibo. So now I got a nice little pair of them. It's kind of cool. We have over here in this box that you cannot see because it's off screen, we have the elusive Villager amiibo. So a lot of people, if you know about amiibo, you probably know the story behind the Villager amiibo. Villager was extremely rare when they first came out, and they were so sought after, specifically the Villager amiibo. I remember there are others that, you know, were really sought after at the time, but the Villager amiibo specifically was so hard to find, and so many people were that actually got a hold of a Villager amiibo were selling them online for ridiculous prices. It was insane. Sorry, I bumped the camera there a little bit. And so, you know, Villager, you know, I was a little bit of an Animal Crossing fan. I played New Leaf. That was the only Animal Crossing game I actually owned and played. But I was a big fan of New Leaf. I loved New Leaf a lot, and so I wanted to get the Villager amiibo. But they couldn't find them at the store. I couldn't find them at the store. And then one day they, you know, eventually Nintendo kind of got their shit together and actually released more stock of certain amiibo that were really rare. And this was one of them. And I apologize, the autofocus on my camera is being really bad right now, but hopefully that doesn't detract from the enjoyment factor of this video too much. But yeah, so this figure, when I saw it in the, you know, they actually restocked it finally, and when I saw it in the store, I was like, I have to get it, and so I finally got it. I believe this was like the last one they had in stock that day, so I lucked out. Like I showed up at the right time and I was able to pick this one up. But you know, the thing is that, you know, once they restocked the Villager amiibo, their value decreased a lot because, you know, a lot more people had them, and so there wasn't as much of a novelty to owning them. But, you know, I'm still really happy that I ended up getting one, because that was one that I really wanted for a long time. And in a similar vein, we have the Little Mac amiibo here. Little Mac was another character that they just did not supply a whole lot of amiibos for. And, you know, when you think about it, you know, Little Mac and the Villager, they're not as recognizable of characters as like Mario and Pikachu and Donkey Kong and Link and all them. So that's probably why they were like, not many people are going to want these characters, so let's just make less. Well, that ended up being really wrong, because I think that the fact that, you know, there weren't a lot of, like, you know, you always see Mario toys in the store. You never see a fucking Little Mac amiibo, like Little Mac toy in the store, on the store shelf. So, like, when you see a Little Mac amiibo, if you're a huge Punch-Out fan, you're picking that shit up. You don't, like, you're not even thinking twice about it, so... You know, I was really proud to own this one. The same case as Villager, like, they restocked, like, it was really rare, but then they restocked it. It wasn't as rare, but then I finally was able to get one. I got it at GameStop, I feel like I remember. What else do we got? We have this Dr. Mario amiibo. So this is the only amiibo that I own, I believe, that I did not actually buy myself, or, you know, ask for a relative to buy or whatever. This amiibo was given to me by my friend Ellis, who I've made videos with in the past, and he gave this to me for my birthday one year. And he already had owned it for a while, but he wasn't huge into collecting amiibo. He only had a few. He had like Link and I believe Pikachu and Samus. I believe he had a Samus one. And Dr. Mario is one of the only ones that he had that I didn't have. So one day he was just like, "Hey, you want my Dr. Mario amiibo?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he gave it to me. And yeah, it's still in really good condition, which is nice. And yeah, it's a nice little figure of Dr. Mario. You don't see a lot of those today. We got Sonic here. I had to get the Sonic amiibo. You know, the fact that, and the novelty of owning a Nintendo-made figure of a character who has infamously been a rival like, you know, a rival figure to Nintendo is, you know, it's just kind of a cool thing. So I really wanted to get the Sonic Amiibo, and I'm glad that I ended up getting it. What else could I bring out here? We got the Ganondorf Amiibo. This one was like the last Zelda character that I really cared about getting. I didn't really care, like, I wanted Link for sure, and then Toon Link was like, that was a novel purchase that I got, and then Zelda was like, yeah, Zelda's cool, and then Ganondorf was like the last one that I really wanted, and this was like one of the last Zelda characters, obviously, that are in Smash Brothers, that actually became an Amiibo. Sheik obviously became an Amiibo. I don't own a Sheik Amiibo, because I didn't really care as much about owning a Sheik Amiibo, but Ganondorf, I was like, yeah, I really do want this one, and so I got this one. It's pretty cool. This one is also, it's not that bulky, but, you know, it's a little bit more complex with this cape design and stuff, which I really like. So it's a nice one. What else? I remember getting this Pac-Man Amiibo. I remember getting this, and I believe I got one for my friend Donovan as well, and I gave it to him for his birthday one year. And this was exciting because, you know, at the time, like, everyone wanted to collect Amiibo, so I was like, yeah, I'll give this one to I'm gonna get one for Donovan, and by get one for Donovan, I mean I asked my mom if she could pay for it for me, and then I gave it to him for his birthday. So yeah, Donovan, if you're watching, you're welcome for that. You're welcome for making my mom buy you a Amiibo, and then I mean, okay. Like, I did, you know, like, it was from me, you know, I did stuff, I did chores, you know, to earn the opportunity to buy it for you. So yeah, that's that. So anyway, moving on here, we have the Wario Amiibo. You know, Wario is obviously a pretty popular character, and the cool thing about the Wario Amiibo is that, you know, like, he's in his WarioWare costume. That's cool. He's got the little hurry up on his back here. You know, it's just cool, and he's got a very pronounced butt chin down here, so that's, you know, good for him. And just his face in general is just very, very established. You can see it from all angles here. So that's a fun one, you know. What else? We got the Greninja Amiibo. I'm a big Pokemon fan, so I really wanted to own as many Pokemon themed Amiibos as I possibly could, and so this was one of the ones. Like, I remember when Greninja got announced for Smash Brothers, I was so excited because this was my favorite starter from Pokemon X and Y, and I was like, man, Greninja is so badass. I'm so glad that he's a character in Smash, and I really wanted his Amiibo, so I got his Amiibo. And we also have Charizard here. Same idea. I really liked Charizard from Pokemon, so I was like, you know, happy to get this one. Something you might notice about some of these characters is that whenever they portray fire, they have a very specific, like, just plasticky look for it, and I just think it's kind of interesting. I mean, like, it's kind of interesting that they have, like, this level of consistency throughout Amiibo. You know, down to, like, the same look of the fire and stuff. This is kind of neat. And then what else do we got? We have, this one. We have the Olimar Amiibo here. And so Olimar was a character that I really wanted to get an Amiibo for because I just thought his Amiibo looked really cool. I like that he had the little Pikmin figures next to him that were actually separate from him. He's got this little plastic, you know, helmet on here that's like see-through and stuff, and that's just kind of neat. And you know, it's just I love the Pikmin franchise. You know, it's a series that I don't show my appreciation for a whole lot, but I really do like the Pikmin series, and I know a lot of people like the Pikmin series. Hopefully we get a Pikmin 4 sometime soon, but what are you gonna do? We have the I believe I'm not gonna talk about that one quite yet. Okay, so kind of rounding out the Smash Brothers, the first Smash Brothers line of characters, we have Ryu here. And so Ryu was infamously a DLC fighter for Super Smash Brothers Wii U and 3DS. and so his amiibo came a lot later than the other ones, because he wasn't actually released as a character until like midway through 2015, and then his amiibo figure didn't come out until like late 2015. And then I remember seeing it in the store, and I'm not a huge Street Fighter fan. I've played like one Street Fighter game in the past, and I was like, it's just not. Fighting games just really aren't for me. But I really liked the Ryu figure because it just looks cool. So I was like, yeah. I don't really like down here, like they give him these like very weird like plastic like supports, and I'm guessing like the figure wouldn't really have a means to stand up without them, or I'm guessing that's why they put them here. But they just look kind of weird. Like that's literally the only part of the figure that like has that, because there are a lot of amiibo figures that have that sort of thing going on. Like any character that kind of needs to be propped up in some way because their artwork is like floating in some way, they have this little plastic add-on to their figure that makes them that gives them the ability to stand in such a way, like here for example. But with Ryu, it just didn't really feel like they needed to include it. Like if you look at his stance, like it doesn't look like he's really doing anything that would make it hard for him to stand up on his own. But I guess they did, because like they included this, and I don't feel like they would have done that if it wasn't required. So who knows. And then what else do we got here? I have the Mewtwo amiibo. This was obviously another Pokemon one that I really wanted, and this was the first DLC fighter that they included in the game. And so that was a really exciting inclusion. A lot of people wanted Mewtwo to come back for Smash 4, and then initially he wasn't a part of the initial roster. But then when they revealed that he was coming as DLC, that was freaking insane. And so Mewtwo amiibo. And then what else? We have Lucas, similar idea. He came as a DLC fighter later on. I don't have a Ness amiibo. I wish I had a Ness amiibo because I just feel dirty owning this without a Ness amiibo. But nevertheless, Lucas, still a very niche character, and the fact that they gave him a figure is just really awesome. I mean, obviously they gave figures to all the Smash Brothers fighters, but just the fact that I'm holding a figure of like an English released figure of a character that infamously never came out in a game in America and only was in a game in Japan. Like that's just crazy, and it's just because of Smash Brothers. So you gotta thank Smash Brothers for that. And then we got I'll go over this one first. We have Cloud here. So Cloud is obviously a character that was he was initially not in a Nintendo game. He was in Final Fantasy VII, which was not on Nintendo platforms. And then when he was included in Smash, it was kind of a huge deal. And so, owning him as a figure, as a Nintendo-made figure, is just pretty cool. And then we have Corrin here. Corrin, I believe, he's the last DLC fighter that I own. I mean, looking at the remaining ones, I don't have a whole lot left to talk about. But he's the last DLC fighter that I own a figure of. I don't have a Bayonetta figure, although I would love to own one someday. But Corrin, I'm not a huge Fire Emblem fan. I believe this is actually the only Fire Emblem amiibo that I have, because one, they're really rare, and two, I just don't really. I'm not a huge fan of Fire Emblem, but I was like, Corrin's cool. I liked using him in Smash 4. It's another case where he's got like this like flaming sword, and they use the same sort of idea for the fire, as they do with like Charizard and Mario. So that was kind of neat. So I picked up the Corrin amiibo. Now we're going to move on to the ones that I actually have a little bit more to talk about, but I'm not going to keep it for too long because I know this video has already been pretty long. But we have the Shovel Knight amiibo here. So Shovel Knight was, as you can probably tell, is not a Smash Brothers amiibo because Shovel Knight is not a fighter in Smash Brothers. And the reason why I wanted to get this one, so Shovel Knight, first of all, it's a really fun game. Definitely recommend it. And I played it and I loved it on the Wii U. But this figure was infamously one of the first, I believe, amiibo to come out that was not Nintendo made, and you can kind of, you can kind of tell that it's not like it's not super high quality compared to the other figures, but it still looks really nice. And you can see, you know, it's not a Smash Brothers, like there's no Smash Brothers emblem on the bottom here, so it definitely stands out in my collection. But I really like the Shovel Knight amiibo because it kind of has like an aesthetic to me that, like, if Shovel Knight was a fighter in Smash Brothers, this is what his trophy would look like, or at least in my mind, that's what it would look like. And obviously this amiibo was only actually usable in the Shovel Knight game, but you know, I was just like, it's just really cool. I just wanted to pick it up because I just thought it was neat. And speaking of ones that I thought were neat, the 2D or pixelated Mario amiibo that was released for the 30th anniversary of Super Mario, or Mario as a character. This might possibly be one of, if not my favorite amiibo in my collection. I really love just the look of this amiibo. Obviously, it's just like, it's a 2D Mario, and then you can turn it around, and it's still like, it's a pixelated Mario is what I meant to say. And when you turn it around, it's like, it's 3D, but it's like, it's pixelated from all angles, and you can like see how Mario would look from all these angles, you know, pixelated, and that's just really cool. And oh man, I just love this amiibo so much. And it says Super Mario Bros 30th right here, and the base is like a pipe design, and it's just so cool. I love this amiibo. It just looks so nice. It's so high quality. I'm just so glad that Nintendo released this figure. And you know, definitely I'm pretty confident in saying that it is just straight up my favorite in my collection. And then on a similar vein, we have the 8-bit Link amiibo, or pixelated Link amiibo. I wanted to pick this one up for the same reason as the Mario amiibo, but like I've said, I'm not the hugest Zelda fan, so I'm not as excited about this one, but I still am like really excited for this one because I really like the pixelated aesthetic. The 3D pixelated aesthetic for these types of amiibos is really cool looking in my opinion. And you know, like, you can just look at that. You can just look at it from all these different angles, and it just looks really nice, and it feels nice. And you know, it's really blocky, so you know, probably don't want to stick this in your mouth, but you know, that being said, like, why would you do that? But it's just really nice, and I like it. I don't know what else to say about it. And then now we're moving on to the amiibos that I actually remember getting more recently, and I believe that begins with this King K. Rool amiibo. So this obviously released, I believe, in 2019, which is pretty recent. Yeah, this is one of the only amiibos that they released that was, you know, it's part of the Smash Brothers line, but it came out, you know, after the release of Smash Ultimate, as opposed to Smash 4 or Smash 3DS and Wii U. Because, you know, K. Rool obviously wasn't a character in those games, but he became a character in Smash Ultimate, and so, you know, they ended up releasing amiibo figures of every character that was added in Smash Ultimate. And so, you know, and King K. Rool was, you know, infamously a character that everyone wanted, not everyone, but a lot of people wanted to be included in Smash Brothers. And so when he was finally revealed, that was so hype. And, you know, I've played Donkey Kong Country. I love those games. And King K. Rool is obviously a very iconic character from those games, and owning an amiibo of him is just really cool. Same idea with like the Bowser amiibo. He just has a lot of weight to him. Definitely not as much as the Bowser amiibo, but like you can feel, like, you know, he's a little bit more dense. And he's got this big belly, and he's got like these scales, and he's got a cape and all this, and just a little crown. It's just really cool. You know, it just looks like a really cool figure. And you know, obviously, like, a figure of this character would not be released if amiibo did not exist, because this is obviously a character that was not, you know, he wasn't really appearing in any Donkey Kong games at the time. He was really only like brought back into the mainstream because of Smash Brothers. So, you know, it's just really cool that they ended up giving him a figure. And then we have, I believe this one I got after K. Rool. I got the Squirtle amiibo because Squirtle, they released amiibos of all of the Pokemon trainer Pokemon individually. I mean, obviously we have the Charizard amiibo, and then we have the Squirtle amiibo. I don't have the Ivysaur amiibo or the actual Pokemon trainer amiibo. I believe they made an amiibo specifically for the Pokemon trainer themselves, but I did not pick up that amiibo, but I did pick up the Squirtle amiibo because I love Squirtle. The thing about this amiibo and like K. Rool and some of the other ones that I'm going to be going over is that after amiibo really took off, well, at least like later down the line, they started pricing the amiibos at quite a bit more expensive prices than they were at the beginning of their like time on the market. This one I believe I picked up for like $16 or $15.99, which it's a step up from the original price of $13.99. It's not that much more, but still, like, when you're buying one figure for that price, like it's definitely substantial. So for me, it was like I wouldn't do that for any figure, and that's why we're kind of winding down on the amount of figures that I have now, that I've been getting recently, because they did become a lot more pricey and a lot more hard to find, and I just don't really have the drive to like search really hard to find figures like this. Like, they're cool to own, but like I don't care enough to like search the internet for them. I guess before I'll bring this one up. So the Incineroar amiibo. This was like the final new character that they announced for Smash Brothers besides DLC. So I really wanted to pick this one up. Like I've already said, I love Pokemon. I love the texture on this figure is really, really nice. And I love Incineroar as a Pokemon. I love Sun and Moon, the games that he's from. And so owning this one was really cool to me. And just the fact he's like reaching out, like he just looks very menacing, and he's a cool guy. And then we have my last two amiibo that I own here. This one I got last year. Well, I guess, depends on when you're watching this. I got this in 2021 at a Target in Albany, Oregon, because I had never seen a Bowser Jr. amiibo in person before, and they just happened to have them in stock at this specific Target that I went to. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll get this. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'll ever see this again. And I have yet to see a Bowser Jr. amiibo in a store since then. So, I'm glad that I picked it up. But it's just kind of weird that I just all of a sudden saw it there. But yeah, I really like Bowser Jr. I like that he was added to Smash. I like his amiibo. I just like his design. And I like that. I like his moveset. I play as him sometimes in Smash Brothers, so glad to own him as a figure. Sorry. And then the last amiibo I have is this King Dedede amiibo. This was the most recent amiibo that I picked up. I believe I picked it up in March of 2022. Because same story as Bowser Jr. I saw it in a store and I was like, I've literally never seen this amiibo in stores before. Sure, why not? I'll pick it up, and then I did, and yeah, I'm glad to own it. It's nothing too special. I mean, it's obviously, this is the Smash Wii U design of King Dedede, because this was the only amiibo that they made of him. Well, besides the Kirby variant, but I never see those at the store. It's funny because more recently I've been going to the store and seeing the King Dedede amiibo paired with the Kirby amiibo, not from the Smash Brothers set, but from the Kirby set. And then also with Meta Knight from the Kirby set, but for some reason it's like they re-released those amiibos. I'm assuming for the release of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which came out at the time of me recording this video. It came out pretty recently, and so I'm guessing that they re-released these amiibos like of King Dedede and Kirby, but not this specific model of Kirby. The Kirby series design of Kirby. Hopefully, I didn't overcomplicate things by saying that. But I think they've been re-releasing those amiibo for that game. But every time that they do, they always release the King Dedede design from Smash Brothers, which is weird because they have a King Dedede as part of the Kirby amiibo set. And so you would think that they would release, the Kirby series variant of all of these characters, but no, they do the Kirby series Kirby and the Kirby series Meta Knight, and then the Smash Brothers series King Dedede for some reason. So yeah, honestly, if they released the Kirby series King Dedede, I probably wouldn't pick it up, just because like it just kind of would stand out in my collection, more so than any of the other ones that stand out, like the Shovel Knight one. But kind of the reason why I didn't pick up the Meta Knight amiibo, because it just would kind of stand out. Yeah. Anyway, that is my amiibo collection. I'll kind of show like one last. I know I don't have them. Oh crap. Okay, I know I don't really have them set up in the most optimal way right now, but I'll just kind of scan through them and just kind of like show them all one last time before I stop the video here. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I don't really collect a whole lot of things, especially like video game related things, just because, you know, video games as a hobby are really expensive. But these figures, like, these were kind of a way for me to, like, you know, show my love of video games in a fashion that was a little bit more cheap and a little bit more, or I should say a little bit more affordable. You know, I'm really proud of this collection, and so I'm glad that I got to make this little video to share them with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you watched all the way through, you know, thank you for listening to me ramble on about these. If you didn't, then you're not here, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to make that video. Thank you guys for watching, and I just want to say, if you're a scalper and you're out there selling these things for more than they're worth, I hate you. You guys ever heard of the Nintendo DS? It was pretty popular. This is my Nintendo DS game collection. I believe I got my first DS, my DS Lite, in 2009 or 2008, either one of those years. I got that console. It was actually the first console of any kind that I ever owned myself. Yeah, my first handheld console, but also just my first console in general. And yeah, it was a pretty big deal. I really loved the DS, and I got a bunch of games for it. I played it to death. I had a blue DS Lite. That was the first console I had, and eventually it broke because I was not too kind to it. So I eventually got a silver DS Lite. It was a second-hand DS Lite, but it still worked perfectly fine. Yeah, and I eventually got like a 3DS, but I got the DS first, obviously. These are all the games that I've accumulated for it, so I thought I would go through them here and just kind of talk about how I feel about them and all that fun stuff. I'll probably be skipping over games that aren't as noteworthy because I have quite a few licensed games and games that are just kind of you know, they were fun when I was like 9 or 10, but you know, looking back, like there wasn't too much to them. But yeah, I'll be kind of trying to give a little bit of commentary on each one. So yeah, they're mostly in alphabetical order, but there's a little bit of inconsistency with that. But who cares? All right, let's start off with the first game here. We have Hot Wheels Beat That. I actually remember playing this game quite a lot. It's basically just a basic racing game. There's not really much else to it, but you know, you race as the Hot Wheels cars, so that's fun. Yeah, I actually played this one quite a bit. It was pretty fun. It was a racing game. Moving on. Next we have Phineas and Ferb Ride Again, which I actually have learned is the sequel to the first Phineas and Ferb DS game, because there was one before this one that had a pretty similar playstyle, but then they came out with this one. You know, it's a simple little licensed 3D platformer based on Phineas and Ferb, and you get to play as Phineas and Ferb and also Perry the Platypus, and there's some cool stuff that happens in it. But other than that, it's just kind of a game that exists. Next we have Lego Batman the video game. This one I remember loving as a kid. I think Lego Batman is, you know, pretty well known as one of the better Lego games, or at least I'm pretty sure that's how the general opinion is, but I don't completely know, but to me at least, Lego Batman was always a really good Lego game. I had several Lego games, but this is one of the ones that really stuck out. I loved playing as Batman, and all these you could play as quite a few Batman characters in this game. You didn't just have to play as Batman. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming most Lego games have that option. You can play as multiple characters, but this one was just extra cool. You know, I'm pretty sure you got to play as both heroes and villains. Like there was two separate stories, you know, for either or. So this one was pretty fun. I also had the Wii version. Moving on, we have Nickelodeon SpongeBob's Atlantis SquarePantis. I don't think the Nickelodeon is technically part of the title, but I said it anyway. Yeah, this is one of the SpongeBob games I had, based on the episode Atlantis SquarePantis. I don't really think I played this one very much, and I'll explain why in a minute. Actually, from what I remember about playing this, I couldn't get past the first level, and I think that just prevented me from playing through it entirely because I was a dumb little kid and I didn't know how to get past the first level, and so I was like, well, I guess that's all the playtime I'm getting out of that game. But yeah, it's a SpongeBob game. Moving on. Next, we have another SpongeBob game, Creature from the Krusty Krab. I don't remember playing this one nearly as much. In fact, I definitely remember playing Atlantis SquarePantis, even though I was only playing the first level. I remember playing the first level of that game. I don't remember playing this game. I probably did play it, but I don't remember anything about it. It looks like it's a 2D platformer with other elements to it, but yeah, not too much more to say about that one. Next, we have the first actual game of note here, Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. So Mario & Luigi is a fantastic franchise. It's sad that the developers are, the development team or company, what have you, they're out of business now, so the future of Mario & Luigi is pretty uncertain at this point. But this game, I'd say, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that this is the magnum opus of the Mario & Luigi series. Mario & Luigi is a fantastic series of, basic RPGs. They're pretty easy, all things considered. I mean, they're not easy in terms of like, they get hard, but in terms of like the grand scope of RPGs, they're fairly easy, simple to understand, but definitely really fun games. And this one, I remember playing a ton. I had so much hype for this game when it was coming out, and I had never even played a Mario & Luigi game at this point. This was the first one I ever played, but it was still like one of my favorite games for the DS at the time. And you got to go inside Bowser, and you got to play as Bowser, and he was in the overworld, and then he was in the main world, and then you explored his body as Mario & Luigi. That was pretty awesome. It's a pretty fun time. Moving on, we have 100 all-time favorites. I don't think I ever played this game. Moving on. No, but it looks like there's just like a bunch of like, card games and board games in this. It's probably a fun time. It definitely caters to the more like casual DS crowd. I don't actually remember getting this. I guess whoever got it for me was just like, yeah, that looks fun for a 10-year-old, and then I was like, I kind of disagree, so that's why I never played it. Moving on, we have Cars the video game. I don't think I ever played this. Yeah, I don't remember playing this at all. So, there you go. Next, we have Club Penguin Elite Penguin Force. This was another game that I loved as a kid. I loved Club Penguin. I played the online, Club Penguin MMORPG game, whatever have you. The online Club Penguin, the main Club Penguin. I played that a ton, and so when I heard this game was coming out, I knew I wanted it, and it definitely delivered as a Club Penguin game. Like it was really good. I think for a kid's Club Penguin game, I think it delivered pretty well. In fact, I would say this is definitely better than the sequel, which I'll talk about in a minute here. But yeah, there was a lot to it. It basically played like the online missions that were in Club Penguin, except you had like 13 new missions to go on, and it was really fun. And there was a lot to do, and there was little side quests you could do. There's a bunch of like little features. You could transfer your coins from the game onto the online Club Penguin. It was awesome. It was so good. I loved this one. And then eventually they came out with a sequel, Club Penguin Herbert's Revenge, and I also really loved this game, not as much as the first Club Penguin Elite Penguin Force game, but it was still pretty good. The thing about this game is that a lot of the content in this game is kind of reused from the main Club Penguin game. They had, once again, they had like a mission structure. So you go on these missions, but I remember there was like 5 or 6 missions in this game that were just ripped directly from the actual Club Penguin game. And so it felt kind of pointless to have them in this because you could just go online and play them. And they did serve a story purpose. Like there was an explanation of why you were playing those missions in this game, but it was still kind of lame. So definitely prefer the first one over this one, but you know, at the end of the day, they're both Club Penguin games. You know, you're not really gonna get much out of this if you're not like a kid that's really into Club Penguin. But still, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. Next, we have Garfield's Fun Fest. The next game we have is Lego Battles Ninjago. So this is another Lego game. I don't remember playing this one as much. I think at this point I had a lot of Lego games, and I was just kind of getting burnt out on them. They all kind of play the same when you get down to it, from what I remember at least. You know, they try to make each one different. And Lego Ninjago, there was a lot of hype for Ninjago, I remember, when it was first coming out, because it was like, whoa, it's Lego Ninjas, it's so awesome. And they had the TV show, and you know, it was pretty cool. Eventually they came out with a movie, but that was like years down the line. But at the time, you know, I remember just kind of being like, it's another Lego game. And I was like probably like 10 or 11 at the time, so, you know, take that what you will. Maybe it's a good game. Well, I guess I'll never know. Moving on, we have Lego Indiana Jones, The Original Adventures. This is what I'm talking about. I had a lot of Lego games. Eventually, I kind of got burnt out on them. I remember playing this one a little bit more than the other ones, but Lego Batman, I definitely played the most. This one, probably like second or third, and then Lego Ninjago's was like, that was like the least. I played that one the least. And this one was all right, I remember. It was a Lego game. Next we have Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. This one I remember playing the second most out of my Lego games. And that's why I said that Indiana Jones was the third. There's not really much more to say about this. I had never even seen Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie. I still haven't. Same with Indiana Jones. But, you know, it was alright. You play as a pirate. Moving on. Next we have New Super Mario Bros. This is a DS game. This is like probably one of the best DS games. I mean, probably one of the best ones that I own at least. But yeah, this was a really good game, and I actually got this game pretty late in my time playing the DS. I already had a pretty good library of games built up besides this one before I actually got this one. And in fact, I think I had every other New Super Mario Bros. Game before I got this one. I'm pretty sure I had New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I got that one on the Wii. And then I got New Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS. And then I got a Wii U. And then I got New Super Mario Bros. U. And then I got this one. Which I think is really weird in the grand scheme of things. Because this is obviously like the original OG New Super Mario Bros. And this, you know, this laid the groundwork for like every other New Super Mario Bros. Game. It was the last one that I played. But you know what? It's still a really good game. It's still definitely... It might be the best New Super Mario Bros. Game. You know what? No. I'm hesitant to say that. It's between this one and Wii, for sure. At least to me. Those are probably the two best games in the series. In terms of just like originality and you know, excitement that built around the game. I mean, by the time that New Super Mario Bros. U came out, no one really wanted any more New Super Mario Bros. Games, but we kept getting them. But this one was the first one, and so it'll always have that over the other ones. And it's a really good game. It's definitely a must-have for any DS owner, I'll say that much. Next we have Plants vs. Zombies. I remember I played Plants vs. Zombies on mobile, I think on my mom's phone or on my mom's tablet, a whole bunch. And it was so fun. I loved Plants vs. Zombies. And so when I heard they had a DS game, but the thing was, it was on my mom's tablet. And so, you know, she wanted to use her tablet. So I was like, well, this sucks because I don't have a way to play this on my own. And then she got me this game. And I was like, well, that's cool. Now I can play this game instead of taking up, you know, time playing my mom's iPad or whatever. And it's pretty much just the original Plants vs. Zombies. There's not really much more to this game from what I remember besides just the original the original Plants vs. Zombies. There is like extra modes, but I'm pretty sure most releases of Plants vs. Zombies, like on mobile and console releases, they include those modes. So I don't know if I don't think there's anything in this that is particular to the DS version. But it's still it's Plants vs. Zombies. It's pure, simple Plants vs. Zombies fun, and it's a good game. I quite like Plants vs. Zombies. And now I'm gonna be probably talking about a lot of Pokemon games, because I have a lot of Pokemon games for the DS. In fact, I might have a copy of every single Pokemon game. Well, that's not true. There's some that I don't have, or at least one that I don't have. But first we have Pokemon Black. Pokemon Black is a really good game. I mean, I'm gonna be saying that about every Pokemon DS game, because they're all good. They're all fantastic in my opinion. Pokemon might have peaked on the DS. I said it. I don't know how. Take that as you will, but it was a really good time for Pokemon. Obviously Pokemon Black and White were kind of polarizing when they were coming out. Oh, what are all these new Pokemon? Oh, they look so stupid. But I think pretty much every Pokemon fan looks at these fondly, looks back at these fondly, and I'm definitely one of them. I love this game. I loved it at the time too, but I love it. I can appreciate it a lot more nowadays, based on the Pokemon games that come out nowadays. This one had a lot of positive things. I have a lot of positive things to say about this game, but maybe I'll do a standalone review someday, because this might be one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite Pokemon games. Not my favorite, but one of my favorites. Next we have Pokemon Black 2. This one is also really good. I don't know if it's better than Black. It definitely has a lot more content than Black, I'll say that much. But I don't know if that makes it a better game. I mean, like, it depends on your definition of a better game. But there was a lot of good. I was really excited for this game when it was coming out, because it came out. I remember seeing like promotional material for this game, for the Japanese release of this game, because back then they would release the Japanese version of these games months before the US release, or sometimes even like a year before. But I was really excited for these games, and so I followed the Japanese news for this game, because it was coming out faster than the US news. And I just wanted to play it so bad, and I finally got it, and I played the hell out of this game. And eventually I played it so much that well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah, this one was a really fun one. Definitely really good Pokemon game. Next we have Pokemon Conquest. So this one, from what I understand, this is a really niche Pokemon game. I don't think a lot of people have played this game. I don't even think there's that many copies of it, because I remember it came out pretty late in the DS's lifespan. Same with Pokemon Black 2, actually. Pokemon Black 2 came out in 2012, and that was a year after the 3DS had come out. In fact, I'm pretty sure Pokemon Black, the original Pokemon Black, came out around the same time as the 3DS. So by then it was like, when is Pokemon coming to the 3DS? This was one of the last Pokemon games that they released for the DS, also in 2012. And this one is actually a spin-off, a combination between Pokemon and the series. I think it's Nobunaga's Ambition or something like that, or Nobunaga's Ambition, something along those lines. It is I don't know. I forget what the genre. It's like, it's not MMORPG. It's like a JRPG. Is it called J? No, tactical RPG. That's what it is. It's very much like Fire Emblem, but you control you control Pokemon trainers, and they all have certain Pokemon. And I'm pretty sure it's a pretty good game if you're into those types of games. I was never really into those types of games, so I remember playing this and being like super confused, and overall like I was just not good at it. But nowadays I'm pretty. Is it in here? Yeah, it's in here. Okay. I think this might be sort of a rare game now, which I think is kind of interesting. But yeah, I was never really into it. Maybe I'll try it out again someday. But right now it just kind of sits in my collection. Next we have Pokemon Diamond. So Pokemon Diamond, this is also a really good game. It's probably the worst. This and Pearl are probably the worst DS Pokemon games, and that's simply because these were the, Diamond and Pearl were the first DS Pokemon games. There was a lot of things wrong with it. just, you know, in the transition from GBA to DS, there was a lot of things that had to be polished up, and that's why they eventually made a third version of these, Platinum. But the original Diamond and Pearl, they're not bad games, but there's definitely a lot of, like, if you've played any other Pokemon game after Diamond and even like Platinum, you can see like the problems that, you know, you can see that this game has a few quirks, I guess is what I would call them. But it's still a good Pokemon game. Moving on, we have Pokemon Heart Gold. This game right here, this is my favorite Pokemon game of all time. This was also the first Pokemon game that I ever owned myself, and the first that I ever played, I think. I mean, like, I don't think I knew what Pokemon was. I thought it was for nerds because I was a very judgmental kid, and you know, that was like the stereotype. Oh, Pokemon. Oh, you play Pokemon. Oh, you're a nerd. And so when I got a Pokemon game, when my parents bought me this for Christmas, not really knowing what Pokemon was, but I remember they told me that when they were at the store getting me the games that I did want, the person at the register of wherever they were buying the games from, Target or something, they were just like, yeah, like this game had just come out, and the employee was just like, yeah, Pokemon is like super hot right now, like I think your kid would really love this. So they bought me this game, not really know if I would really like it or not. I opened it up and was kind of like, oh, okay, thanks. And you know, that was, you know, I had never played a Pokemon game, so to me it just kind of looked weird. What is this weird bird thing on the front? Who are these people? What's going on here? So, you know, I wasn't really into it. And then one day I decided to play it. I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna try it out. And I could not put it down. I was so into this game, and this made me into a Pokemon fan, like a hardcore Pokemon fan. So this is where the decline of my life started. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite games in my collection, and just overall my favorite Pokemon game of all time. It's definitely not, I would even hesitate to call it the best Pokemon game. I don't think it's that at all, really. I mean, it might be, I don't know, but it's definitely my favorite. If not purely because of nostalgia, this is my favorite Pokemon game. Moving on, we have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Darkness. So the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series is a really good series of spin-off Pokemon games. In fact, it might be the best Pokemon spin-off series of all time. They're really good games. I don't know if the gameplay is for everybody. I would hesitate to say that it's for everybody, but it's still, if you can find an appreciation for the gameplay, you will definitely love this game and every aspect of it. This and Explorers of Time, which I also have here. These were very much like the standard main series Pokemon releases, where they released two versions that had slight differences to them. And then they eventually released a third version, Pokemon Explorers of Sky, which I do not own, but I do own these two. And they're both, you know, they're pretty similar. Like, there's not much about them that's very different, from what I recall. But I would definitely, like, if you're gonna play a game like these, try to get Sky, because it's probably the definitive version of these Mystery Dungeon games. Because there are, of course, other Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, but of the trio, Sky is definitely the best one. But these are still really good. And I remember really loving these. I remember I got stuck on the final boss of this one. I never really played this one as much, because by the time I got this, I had already pretty much completed this game, so I didn't see I didn't see much of a point of playing through this one, but I still played through a good amount of it. And I really like these. These are good games. Next, we have Pokemon Platinum. So, like I was saying earlier, Pokemon Platinum is probably the definitive Generation 4 Pokemon game, better than both Diamond and Pearl, I think. I actually own Pearl. I forgot to mention this, but I actually do own a copy of Pokemon Pearl, but I don't have the box. I'm pretty sure it's because I got a used copy of Pokemon Pearl, so I never ended up getting the physical box for it, but I do own the cartridge. But Pokemon Platinum, this is also probably one of my favorite Pokemon games. There's a lot good about this game. I mean, just look at the box art. Like, the little sparkles. That's cool. This is a nice little touch. They didn't need to do that, but they did. And yeah, I'm really glad that I ended up getting a copy of this game, because this game is not too cheap nowadays. It's definitely a game that a lot of people are looking back fondly on nowadays, and getting nostalgia for. But yeah, I really love this one. It's pretty good. Moving on, we have Pokemon Ranger Guardian Sign. So this is another Pokemon spin-off game. In this game, you're a Pokemon Ranger, and in order to capture them, you draw circles around the Pokemon, and that's pretty much it. I remember there was a demo for back in the day. They would have these little kiosks in like like grocery stores. I remember there was a little kiosk in Walmart, or I don't know if it's display, I guess is a better way to put it. They had a little DS on display that anybody could play, and they had a little demo of Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia, which is the prequel to this game. And I remember playing that game and really liking it. I was like, well, at the time, I just liked anything Pokemon. And so I was like, whoa, this is kind of a cool game. And so I wanted Pokemon Ranger, and then I got this game, which was not Shadows of Almia. But I think this might be better than Shadows of Almia. I've never played through Shadows of Almia. But I'm pretty sure, if you're a fan of Pokemon Ranger, I'm pretty sure this is like regarded as the best in the series. They only made 3, if I recall. I think they only made the original Pokemon Ranger, and then Shadows of Almia, and then this one. But I'm pretty sure this is the best one, if not just because it's the last one that they ever did. The gameplay is pretty repetitive. That's probably the biggest flaw to this game, but there's a lot to like about it. It's not horrible, but Mystery Dungeon, in terms of Pokemon spin-offs, is definitely still probably better than this game, but it's not bad. Pretty sure it's on the Wii U eShop, so if you want to pick it up, there you go. I mean, you have a little bit of time, and then eventually eShop's going to close, so use your time wisely. Next, we have Pokemon Soul Silver. This is the counterpart to Pokemon Heart Gold. I pretty much just wanted this because I really liked Heart Gold, and I was like, I want to play Heart Gold again. So I got the sequel instead of just restarting my game, because I did not want to restart my game in Heart Gold. I spent a lot of time grinding in that game. I did not want to just delete all my progress. So I got this game, and it's pretty much similar. It's like there's not too much, there's not really ever too many differences between the two versions of Pokemon games whenever they come out. So not much more to say about this one besides that I didn't say about Heart Gold, besides the fact that that's not the same Pokemon. But it's still really good. This is still like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, solid games. Next, we have Pokemon White 2. That's right. I love Pokemon Black 2 so much that I just needed to get the sequel. Or I needed to get the counterpart, and so I did. And not much more to say about this one. It's good. Black 2 is good, so White 2 is good. They're both good. Moving on. Next, we have Scribblenauts. So Scribblenauts. This was actually a game that I was not expecting to like as much as I did. I didn't really. This was like around I had my DS for a couple months at this point, and I was just kind of like looking for other games to get for it. And I remember, I think my aunt bought me this game, not really knowing what it was, and I was just like, interesting. Write anything, solve anything. Yeah, I thought it looked kind of neat. And so I played it, and it was pretty good. I liked Scribblenauts. I don't know if this is I feel like this is kind of a niche series, but they still support it. Like, you can still buy Scribblenauts on the Switch. Like, they have, I'm pretty sure, a release that includes Scribblenauts Unlimited and Scribblenauts, it's called like Scribblenauts Unmasked, I'm pretty sure, which has a bunch of like DC superhero content in it. And they're pretty fun games. It's kind of misleading because this box art, at least to me, kind of makes it look like you're drawing all this stuff and then it's making it come to life. But in reality, you write out words for stuff and you make stuff that way. It's still fun though. I still really like the Scribblenauts games, so this is a good one. Next, we have SpongeBob SquarePants featuring Nicktoons Globs of Doom. This is a really interesting game. I remember it's pretty much just like a platformer. A lot of these licensed games were platformers. You play as Nicktoons characters. You don't just play as SpongeBob, contrary to what this title might make you think. Well, I mean, title includes Nicktoons, so I guess it's not that misleading. But you get to play as a bunch of different Nicktoons, which was pretty cool. I don't remember ever playing too much of this game, but I definitely liked the idea that you could play as a variety of Nicktoons in this. That was definitely a very novel concept. And it was okay. I don't remember liking it that much when I was little. But if there's any value to it, it's the fact that you can play as freaking that guy. That guy's freaking awesome. I don't actually know who that is, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. We have Super Mario 64 DS. You know what? No, we're not going to talk about that one yet. We're going to talk about Super Scribblenauts really quick. Because Super Scribblenauts is the sequel to Scribblenauts. I know. Shocker. And this is also, I remember, this is the game that I wanted for Christmas. The same Christmas that I got Pokemon Heart Gold. The game that changed my life. This is the game I wanted instead of that one. And it's definitely more Scribblenauts. Is it fun? Yes. Is it Scribblenauts? Yes. Is there anything really more to say about it? No. So yeah, and I wanted to talk about that game first because I wanted to talk about this game last. Super Mario 64 DS. This is another game that I got pretty late into my time playing the DS. And I don't really know why, because this was always a game that I wanted. Ever since I got my DS, I knew I wanted this game, but I just never got it. There was just other games that I got instead. But it's interesting because this is actually a launch title. Okay, that was unfortunate. This is a launch title for the DS. And this was such a novel concept at the time. The fact that you could play Super Mario 64 on the go, that's freaking crazy. And this is a really interesting game for a multitude of reasons. First off, it's not just Mario 64. There is much more to this game than what was in Mario 64, the original for N64. First of all, you don't just play as Mario. You can play as Yoshi and Luigi and Wario. That's freaking insane. And it was pretty cool, the fact that you could do that. Second of all, there is a lot more content in this game than there was in the original release of Mario 64. So that's pretty cool. Third of all, I'm hesitant to say that this is the definitive release of Mario 64, because there's a lot about this game that makes it kind of weird and not that great in a lot of cases. First of all, the control scheme. So, the DS doesn't have a circle pad or any sort of like joystick. Obviously, one of the big novel concepts of Super Mario 64, the original Mario 64, was that it was the first 3D Mario game. Well, there might have been another, I don't know. It was the first 3D main series Mario game. And so, you can control Mario in like 360 degree motion, right? Well, the DS, fun fact about the DS, it doesn't have a good way for you to control anyone or any character in 360 degree motion. You can still use the D-pad in this game, but it's not always the most ideal. The game was designed to have that 360 degree motion, movement option. So they had other options for you to use. You could use, there was this weird like thumb peripheral that you could use to like control the touch, like Mario on the touch screen, which is kind of weird. Or you could just use a stylus on the touch screen and you could control the characters 360 degree movement wise that way. But it was really weird and it was just really inconvenient to control. So overall, I really hope, but this is still a really good game. Like, don't get me wrong, this is a good DS game. But I just really hope that one day they not even re-release, but remake this game, with all the same content, but make it so you can use like a joystick to control it. I really hope they do that someday, because that would make this game have a whole lot more value, or it would make the re-release have a whole lot more value. But yeah, so that is my DS game collection. I really like the DS. The DS might even just be like one of my favorite consoles of all time. And, you know, it sold incredibly well. And rightfully so. It had a whole bunch of great games. Like, I don't even, like, there's a lot of DS games that I wish I owned because the DS had such a fantastic library. But overall, I'm happy with my collection. I mean, I have a lot of, like, nothing games for the DS, but I also have a lot of games that I really like and that I look back fondly on. And a lot of those are on the floor right now, so I guess I'm going to have to pick those up. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I'm a gamer. Asterisk. This is my Nintendo 3DS game collection. I got my first 3DS. Yeah, that's right. I say first because I actually ended up getting two. But I got my first one in, I believe, December of 2011, and I played it to death. I loved the 3DS, and that's why I actually wanted, eventually when they made the upgraded model, I wanted the upgraded model, and so I ended up getting one. And then, yeah, over the course of the time when I played the 3DS, I've acquired all of these games, and I would like to share with you today all of the games that I have here, or at least physical games. I obviously have quite a few games downloaded to my 3DS as well, but I'm just going to be going over the physical releases because these, you know, to me, these are the games that I cared enough to buy physically, or, you know, that I was able to buy physically. Most of the games that I have downloaded to my 3DS, you know, I only downloaded them because you couldn't get them physically, because I like getting physical copies of games because I'm dumb. Anyway, but yeah, so I'd like to just go through them today. So, you know, hang tight, try to contain your excitement, and let's get into it. First game here, we have here, so I have them laid out in alphabetical order. So this isn't necessarily the order that I acquired the games, but because I already had them organized in alphabetical order, I'm going to be going through them in alphabetical order. So first one we have here is Animal Crossing New Leaf. This game, I remember playing it so much after I got it. This was the first Animal Crossing game that I ever played, and it was the one that turned me into an Animal Crossing fan. New Leaf, in my opinion, might be the best game in the franchise. Yeah, I said it. I don't know. I was really involved in playing this game, and I clocked in so many hours. I believe it might be the second most played game in terms of like hours played in my whole library. Really like this game. Yeah, just don't know what else to say. I remember I got it during the summer of 2013, and you know, I played it to death, you know, even throughout the school year, and it was just, oh, it was so good. Love that one. Next we got Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. I never owned the original Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii, but when this one was coming out, I was like, you know what, this is my chance to play it. I was told that this was actually the superior version of the game, so if I was going to get any version, it should be this one, and I don't regret it at all. I really like this game. It's a fantastic platformer. Definitely rivals even like Mario games, you know, and anyone who's played Donkey Kong Country Returns or Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze would probably tell you a similar story. Yeah, it was really fun. I was not that good at the game when I first got it, and what was cool is that this version actually introduced an easy mode to the game. So, you know, if you sucked like me, you had something to compensate for that. So, you know, definitely recommend this one. This one, I believe this is this one and New Leaf are now Nintendo Selects. I mean, obviously they're not sold in stores anymore, but you could probably find them for pretty cheap at, you know, like secondhand game stores or like online on eBay, or, you know, even then, I think when this video comes out, the 3DS eShop will technically still be active, so if you wanted to download these games digitally, you still could by this point. So I definitely recommend this one and New Leaf, even though New Leaf obviously does have sort of a spiritual successor / replacement in New Horizons. But, you know, if you want some good old Donkey Kong Country fun, this one's a good one. Next we got Kirby Triple Deluxe. This was one of the only 3DS games that I got that was actually a gift. It wasn't, well, a lot of them were gifts from like my family, but This one in particular was a gift from a couple of my friends. I was never really a big Kirby fan, but they got me this game, assumingly to try to get me into the Kirby franchise, and it worked. I love this game. This is a great Kirby game. It's great for beginners, or great for introducing people into the Kirby franchise. It's just a really fun game. I don't really know what else to say. Like, I actually replayed it recently, and I had a blast the whole time. It's definitely nothing too exciting. Like, there's not anything that's like super crazy or super innovative in terms of, you know, level design or story or you know, general game design. Like, it's a pretty generic Kirby experience, but that's kind of why I like it, and for that reason I think it's a great way to get new fans into the franchise. So yeah, definitely recommend this one. I know I'm gonna be saying that for a lot of these games, because a lot of these games, like, obviously I got them because I liked them, or I had an interest in them, and that made me want them, and you know, the want for the game was justified when I played it. But yeah, next one we got here is Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. I was really excited for this game when it was coming out, and I actually remember I was with my mom at Walmart late at night. It was like midnight, back when the Walmart by our house would stay open 24 hours. We actually stayed there. We were already shopping there, and it was pretty late at night, but she let me stay there until midnight. I don't know if that was the best idea. It was on a weekend though. You know, I didn't have school the next day. And so we stayed there, and they let me. I don't know if we stayed until midnight. Maybe it was like a couple hours before, but I waited, and they gave me a copy of the game, and I was so excited to play it. And it was a really fun experience. It was the first Luigi's Mansion game I had ever played, and it was really fun. I actually haven't played the original Luigi's Mansion, but I played this one, and I've played 3. And honestly, 3 is probably better. But this one's definitely not bad for a handheld experience. It's definitely a good one. Next, we have Mario and Luigi Dream Team. The Mario and Luigi series, I was gonna say is a great series, but I rather it was a great series. It's you know, the company that used to make them, Alpha Dream, shut down. Super sad. But they did get this game on the 3DS with a couple others before they shut down. And this one's a pretty good one. The only Mario and Luigi games that I've played. Well, okay, I think I've played all of them except for Partners in Time and Paper Jam. So I've played 3 of the 5 main games. Including this one, obviously. And this one, like, I would say it's not better than Bowser's Inside Story, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like, and Bowser's Inside Story, I think is generally considered the best of the series, but this one's definitely not bad. For the first 3DS title, I think it's pretty good. I think the idea of going into Luigi's Dreams is really fun. Works a lot very similarly to going inside Bowser when you're inside his digestive tract or whatever, and it's really fun, and you get some cool shenanigans. The art style isn't as charming as previous entries, but it's definitely still a fun one. I believe that's also a Nintendo Select. Next we have Mario Kart 7. This was simply enough the Mario Kart for the 3DS, and it was fun. Pretty much every Mario Kart is fun. This was just the one that came out on the 3DS, and I played it a lot. It was, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's Mario Kart. Not much more needs to be said. It's a good game. Moving on. Next we have Mario Party Island Tour. So this one's a little bit more of a controversial choice. Definitely the first game that I'm going over here that, not all people would agree is a good game. I, on the other hand, I liked it when I played it. It was one of the, I think it's one of the first Mario Party games that I played. And I, simply enough, I wanted it because I'm a Mario boy. Love me some Mario. And when I saw this game, I was like, you know what? I want that. So I asked for it for Christmas. I got it for Christmas in, I believe, 2014 or 2013. I think it was 2013. Regardless, I got it. I played it. I liked it. I don't remember too much about it. I just remember, you know, there was obviously the board game mode. If we look at the back here, they just show off some of the mini games and some of the boards. I remember this board with the bonsai bill here, and you had to hide from him in these little cubbies or whatever. I do remember that. But yeah, it's not the best Mario Party game, not by a long shot, but I don't think it's as bad as many people say. I think, you know, obviously with Mario Party, people have high expectations, and this did not meet their expectations, but I don't think it's a bad game. It's just not what people want. Moving on. We have New Super Mario Bros. 2, another kind of polarizing game, but, you know, on sort of a different level, because this game, it's kind of undeniably a good game. Like, I don't think anyone would call this a bad game, but it's super generic, and there's not a whole lot about it that's really exciting. I mean, obviously, you have the goal of trying to collect 1 million coins, and there just being coins everywhere in the game, and that's kind of what makes it stand alone from the other New Super Mario Bros. Games, which is a fun concept, don't get me wrong, and collecting coins is super fun, but, you know, you're not gonna find anything in this game that's too different from previous New Super Mario Bros. Games, and I think that's why a lot of people have sort of a negative feeling towards this game, because it didn't really do anything new, and it's literally called New Super Mario Bros. It's like, you know, but I like this game. I remember really enjoying this game when I first played it, but I don't know what that says about me. Here we have Pilot Wings Resort. So simply enough, this was, I believe, one of the first, if not the first 3DS game that I played. I don't know if I owned it first, but it was the first one that I played, because I remember they had this little display at my local Target. And before I got my 3DS, I loved going to the electronics section in Target, and they had this little 3DS display, and you could play like one level from Pilot Wings Resort, and I would love going to Target just so I could try this game out. And it was so fun. I think I was just really excited because I really wanted my own 3DS, and so getting to play it was just really exciting for me. And then when I ended up getting a 3DS of my own, I wanted this game because I was like, I really want to try out the full Pilot Wings Resort experience. Overall, it's okay. It's nothing too exciting. I mean, obviously, this isn't one of the like games that really shows off why the 3DS is such a great console. I mean, it's not a bad game. I don't really know how to describe it, but it exists. It's just a game that is on the console, and you know, it's a Pilot Wings game. You know, if you like the idea of flying around this island, and you like the idea of like doing that on the 3DS, you're gonna like this game. Moving on. Okay, next we're gonna get into all of my Pokemon games, because I definitely have a lot of Pokemon games for the 3DS, and I'll try not to like spend too much time on each individual one, because, you know, once you talk about one Pokemon game, I mean, I'm hesitant to say there's nothing you can say about, you know, like every Pokemon game has differences, but overall they're all Pokemon games. We have Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Pokemon Alpha Sapphire is a really good game, and I also have Omega Ruby, which I'll show off eventually. But this is a really good remake of the 3rd generation of Pokemon games. There's a lot in this game to do, and a lot of Pokemon to see, and just a lot of stuff in this game, and that's why I love this game and Omega Ruby. I remember I got Omega Ruby first, and I played that one first. But eventually I wanted this one because I wanted to experience it all again with sort of a different feel to it, you know. And I don't regret it. I don't regret getting this game. I like both of these games a whole lot. You know, I wish Nintendo, or I guess Game Freak, would make Pokemon remakes that were like this. You know, every single time. Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl kind of disappointed me, especially coming off of the hype of this game. Like, I was really hoping that Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl would have as much content as these games, and they just didn't. So, you know, maybe this gave me too high expectations, but Who knows? Next we have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity. So Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is a franchise that I would say I'm a pretty big fan of. I've played Explorers of Time and Explorers of Darkness. I mean, they're pretty much the same game, but both of them are both really good. It made me a really big Pokemon Mystery Dungeon fan. I don't think I ever played the Red Rescue Team or Blue Rescue Team games, but they look like they're just as fun, and I really wanted this one because this was the big 3DS entry. It had Pokemon from Black and White. It was in 3D. It was exciting, and you know, I played it, and it was good. Like, I think a lot of people, I don't know, I think it's another case where people had really high expectations for this game when it was coming out, because the previous games, Explorers of Darkness and Time and Sky, were really good, and I don't think that this game met their expectations. Does that make it a bad game? Maybe. No, I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's really good. I just think if you're looking for something, if you're looking for an experience that's as deep as those DS games, Explorers of Darkness and Time and Sky, you're not necessarily going to find it here, but you're definitely still going to find a good, solid mystery dungeon experience with this game. So definitely like that one. Here we have Omega Ruby. Like I was saying earlier, played this one to death. I think I actually clocked in more hours in this game than any other Pokemon game. So if that's something to mention, there you go. Next we have Pokemon Rumble Blast. So this was another one of the first games that I got for the 3DS. And I simply got it just because it was a Pokemon game. I had never played a Pokemon Rumble game. I mean, obviously, the only Pokemon Rumble games that existed when this came out were the original Pokemon Rumble on WiiWare, and then this one. And so, you know, I didn't even really know what Pokemon Rumble was. But I saw this was Pokemon. I saw that it was out. It was the only Pokemon game on the 3DS at the time because X and Y had not come out yet. So I was like, sure. And so I asked for it again for Christmas, got it for Christmas, and I played it. And I don't remember too much about it. I remember it was okay. Like, I had a decent enough time playing it, but I feel like it might have just been because it was a Pokemon game, not because it was a good game. But, you know, it's not really one that I can recommend. Like, the gameplay is really repetitive, and there's just not a lot of substance to it. It's just, it's really just like a kid's game. Like, I think kids that like Pokemon, like I was, you know, are gonna get enjoyment out of it, but that's pretty much it. And even Pokemon fans, like long-term Pokemon fans, you're not gonna find a lot here. But you know what? For what it was, I enjoyed it at the time. Next, we have Pokemon Sun. This was another entry in the 3DS titles of Pokemon, and there's a lot of hype around this game when it was coming out. And I remember I played it, and I really liked it at the time. Looking back on it, there's not a lot that I can say was super memorable. I mean, like, I loved this game, and I still kind of love this game, but it just didn't leave as much of an impression on me as other Pokemon games. But that doesn't make it a bad game. It's definitely still a really good Pokemon game, and there's a lot to love about it. And it was the last, well, okay, it wasn't the last 3DS Pokemon game that would come out. You know, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were technically the last ones, but it's, you know, it's still, like, it has a lot of value. Like, there's a lot of value in this game. And it's really cool. Like, they did a good amount of things that were different from other Pokemon titles, and so, you know, I appreciate that. But, you know, this was an instance where there's a lot of hype for this game because it was coming out on Pokemon's 20th anniversary, and I don't think it necessarily met every expectation. I'm saying that a lot because it's kind of true. It didn't really meet every expectation that people were having for it, but that's okay. It's still a good game. Next, we have Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. I never finished this game. I think by this point I was kind of, you know, I wanted this game, and, you know, I really liked Gates to Infinity, but I just didn't have a lot of motivation to play through this game. There just didn't seem to be a lot that was, like, riveting about it. You know, even in comparison to other Mystery Dungeon games, like, it was just kind of felt like more of the same, which isn't bad. Because Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is a really fun franchise, but it didn't really compel me to play it. So, you know, I have yet to actually finish this game or even really play it a whole lot. Like I don't even think I got through like the first like couple chapters or whatever. I don't even remember what goes on in this game. There's Mega Evolution. That's cool, I guess. I don't know, but I don't know what else to say about that game because I didn't finish it. I'm just kind of reorganizing stuff here. Okay, the next game, another Pokemon game, Pokemon Ultra Moon. So I'm a Pokemon fuck. So I wanted this game, even though it's basically just a remake or retelling of Pokemon Moon. I still wanted it, so I got it eventually. But you know what? I don't regret getting it because this was another Pokemon game that I played a lot. I do wholeheartedly think that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are better games than Sun and Moon. There's a lot in these games that wasn't in Sun and Moon. There are a few things that are like a little weird that they changed in these games, if I recall. I can't name any specific examples, but I do recall they changed some things that I was like, that's kind of weird that you changed that. But overall, I like this game, or I like these. I only have Ultra Moon. I don't have Ultra Sun. I thought I had Pokemon Moon and Sun, like Sun and Moon, but I don't know where my Pokemon Moon copy is, so I guess I'm just showing off Sun this time. But I have Pokemon Ultra Moon, and it's a good game. Next we have Pokemon X. This was the first 3D Pokemon game, or at least the first main series 3D Pokemon game. And I say that because obviously there's Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness, and those are usually forgotten as 3D Pokemon games that have story modes. But those weren't main series. So this is technically the first main series 3D Pokemon game. And it's really good. I don't know if a lot of people look back on it fondly, which is weird because I really like Pokemon X. It was another one that I played it so much. I beat it in like a week because I could just not stop playing it. It was just like, it was my obsession for a while. The hype behind this game, like leading up to release, was such an exciting time, because it was just like, wow, Pokemon's on the 3DS for the first time. It's so cool. And so, I like this one. This is probably one of my favorite 3DS games of all time, if I'm being completely honest. Next we have sort of an oddball, regular show Mordecai and Rigby in 8-Bit Land. So this game, I don't think I ever formally asked for this game. I think my mom got it for me, because simply enough, I liked regular show, and I remember watching this show when I was little. I think she was like, hey, here's a regular show video game. Have fun. And I remember playing it. It's a nice little 2D platformer. If you like regular show, you're probably going to find some value in this game, but it's nothing too exciting. It's just kind of like, it's a licensed game. It's like, what else really is to say about it? It's a generic, licensed kids game based on regular show. But it's fun. You get to play as Mordecai and Rigby and beat, these bosses. It's 8-bit, like the title implies. And so, you can kind of see action platforming, old school shooter and side scroll shooter combined. Play as Mordecai and Rigby. Those are the selling points. So, take that as you will. I'm not really going to say anything else. Next we have Scribblenauts Unlimited. So I really like the Scribblenauts franchise. I got the original Scribblenauts, and I got Super Scribblenauts for the DS, both for the DS. And so when this game got announced, I really wanted it, and I got it. And simply enough, it's another Scribblenauts game. They polished up the presentation of Scribblenauts. If you don't know what Scribblenauts is, Google it. But it's fun. It's more Scribblenauts, and that's what I wanted with this game, so I was not disappointed. If you're gonna get a Scribblenauts game, though, I believe that they have either a trilogy or at least a duology of this game and the DC related Scribblenauts game on the Switch. I actually ended up getting that for the Switch, because I had only ever had this game handheld, or I guess on the 3DS, and I wanted it on the Switch because I wanted to play it on the TV, and it was fun. But so if you are curious about this Criminals franchise, I would get that version, not this version. But this one was still a fun time. Next, we have Super Mario 3D Land. This was, I believe, another one of the first 3DS games that I ever got. And it's a really good Mario game. It's a really good 3D Mario game. This was like the start of the trend of, and by trend I mean they made 2 games in this style. But this was kind of like the beginning of when they started making 3D Mario games that weren't necessarily these big grand adventures. They were very similar to like 2D Mario games in terms of presentation and design. Like you don't have these massive levels where you're trying to like do a bunch of different tasks to get stars, but rather you go through a 3D level, a solidly made 3D level, and you get to the end and you hit the flagpole, try to collect some star medals or star coins along the way, and it's a good time. Like it's just a good Mario game. But if you're looking for a game that's like Super Mario 64 or Sunshine or Galaxy, you're not going to find that here, and that's okay. Not every Mario game has to be that big of a spectacle, and it was kind of nice just having like a little, fun, nothing special Mario game on the 3DS. And I say nothing special, but this game is special, don't get me wrong. Like it's a good Mario game, and it's really fun, and it's a 3D game. If you liked New Super Mario Bros. 2, you'll probably like this game. I'll say that much. Moving on, we have Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. This game, I was so excited to get this game, and it was so exciting playing this on the 3DS. I love the Smash Bros. Franchise, as a lot of people do, and oh my gosh, I was just so hyped to play this on the 3DS. It was the first handheld Smash Bros. Game. It was crazy. And it's a really solid package. I mean, obviously, every Smash Brothers game kind of replaces the last one, except for, well, that's not always true. But specifically with this game, if you want to play a Smash Brothers game like this, just play Ultimate. But this is still a really good game. There's still a lot to love about this game in retrospect. They really made Smash Brothers feel so natural on the 3DS, and it was incredible. There's so much content in this game. Trophies are still in this game. I can't say that about Ultimate. And I loved playing this game, especially like with my friends. We played at school all the time, and I don't regret a single minute of it. It was so fun. So love this game. All right, going to the last 3 we have here. We have The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time 3D, the only Zelda game that I own on the 3DS. Well, physical Zelda game. I never really played much Zelda. I wasn't like the hugest Zelda fan, but I still had a big appreciation for the series. And when I saw that they re-released what was considered the best Zelda game of all time for the 3DS, I was like, you know what? I want to pick that up. So I picked this game up. And by picked it up, I mean I asked for it for my birthday or something. And then I played it, and I really liked it. I don't think I ever finished it, is the thing. And it's a bad habit I have with Zelda games specifically. But I get stuck at a certain area, and then I never end up finishing it. I never end up like getting building up the willpower to go back and finish the game. But I still really liked playing it. I still really liked playing up till the point that I got to. It was really fun. And it really does show, like it's really polished. Like they really took the original Ocarina of Time and just they polished the hell out of it. The graphics look way nicer. The mechanics, it's Ocarina of Time. Simple enough. Like they didn't have to do much to it to make it better. But it's still like, in my opinion, the definitive way to experience Ocarina of Time. So definitely recommend it. I believe this is another Nintendo Selects. So you're going to be able to pick this up for pretty cheap, and it's really good. Next we have Tomodachi Life. Oh my god, this game is so fun. I remember seeing a YouTuber review this game on his YouTube channel, and he just made it look like such a bizarre time, such a fun, bizarre time. And it really is just that. You take a bunch of your Miis and you just watch them interact. and it's so fun that it makes for, you know, really funny experiences, and like it's just something that you need to play yourself to really get why it's so fun to play this game. Like, you just have to play it yourself. But I remember playing this a lot, just checking in on it, checking in on my friends and what they were doing. You know, my family members, when I put them in the game, what they were up to is just crazy. It's just like a crazy time, and I loved it a lot. And I really wish that they would make a sequel to this game. I was hoping they would make a sequel to it on the Wii U. That never happened. Hopefully, maybe, cross your fingers, we get something like this on the Switch. We obviously have like Miitopia or whatever. Like, I guess that's supposed to be like this, but come on, man. I want a Tomodachi Life game. Make like Tomodachi World, Tomodachi Universe, Tomodachi something. Just give me more Tomodachi Life, please. I need it. I need this. And then the final 3DS game I have to talk about right now, well, asterisk, is Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. And this is technically for the new Nintendo 3DS, which I mentioned I ended up getting one of those. This is a remake of, or a re-release, whatever you want to call it, remaster of Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii. Xenoblade Chronicles came out very late in the Wii's lifespan. But, you know, it came out and it was received really well. It was like considered one of the best Wii games. And so they made a re-release of it for the 3DS. And it's really good. I really wanted to play this game because it just looked really good. And the fact that it's portable, are you kidding me? Like, that's great. Like, if you ever see like gameplay of this game, or if you know about this game, it's insane that they are able to fit it on a handheld. I mean, obviously you can't play it on the original 3DS model, whatever, but if you have a new Nintendo 3DS, it's definitely worth playing. There's a lot to this game. I mean, obviously they have a re-release of it on the Switch now, which is probably the better way to go if you want to play this game portably, or if you want to play this game at all. But, you know, this was still a really good experience, and I don't think I ever finished it, as you know, a lot of games, but it was still, every moment I played of it was really fun. So definitely a good game. So that's my 3DS game collection. There were a couple that I didn't get to talk about, and first one was Kid Icarus Uprising. I did own that game at one time, but I lost the game card because I was stupid, and I brought the game card to a movie theater, but not the case. I think I was planning on giving it to my friend or something because we were seeing a movie and I was going to just let him borrow the game while we were there. I don't know why I didn't just bring the box, but I brought the little game card with me in my pocket, and then I lost it in the movie theater. I never saw it again, which sucks because Kid Icarus Uprising is a fantastic 3DS game. But yeah, I still have the box, so if I ever end up getting like a second-hand copy of it, like just the game, I have the box for it, so that's nice. And then the last 3DS game, physical 3DS game that I actually do own is Paper Mario Sticker Star, which is a really polarizing game. But I never actually ended up getting the physical box for the game. I remember my dad bought me the game. He just bought me the game card. He bought me a used copy of it with just the game card from GameStop. And I still really appreciate it. I still loved playing the game. I do wish I had the box though. So one day I hope to just get a copy of the box so I can keep the game in it. But overall, and you know, a lot of people hate on that game. I thought it was okay. Like, it wasn't anything too special. I have played other Paper Mario games. I know that the series used to be so much better. It's not what it used to be. I get all that. But Sticker Star is not the devil's incarnate. Don't let people fool you. But, you know, if you're looking for an RPG, it's not an RPG. But anyway, yeah. That was my 3DS game collection. Bye. Yeah, I owned a Wii. One at a time, ladies. This is my Nintendo Wii game collection. I owned a Wii from, I believe, 2011 or 2012 to present day. I never not owned a Wii after that point. But yes, it is true that I got my Wii in 2011 or 2012. I actually don't remember, but it was around that time. And that was actually a very late point to get a Wii because the Wii U came out in 2012. but I was still insistent about getting a Wii. I wanted a Wii U as well, but I was like, no, I really want a Wii first, and so I ended up getting a Wii, and these are all the games that I got for it. So let's talk about that. Thought maybe it might be a little fun trip down memory lane, for me at least, not necessarily for you guys, because this is probably the first time that you guys are hearing about my experiences with these games, but nevertheless, maybe you'll enjoy this video. If you did, that's great. Alright, let's get started here. So, first up, we got Club Penguin Game Day. So these are ordered alphabetically. So, you know, that's the reason why I'm starting with this. I was a big Club Penguin fan back in the day. And I played, you know, the online MMORPG. It's weird to say that Club Penguin was technically an MMORPG, but I think technically that's the genre of game it was, so I will be referring to it as such. But yes, I did play Club Penguin a lot in the day. Thought it was back in the day. I thought it was a very fun time, and so when I found out that they were coming out with games for it on my favorite consoles, also the only consoles I had at the time, the DS and the Wii, I was like, holy crap, I gotta get these games. And so I did. I got the DS games, the Elite Penguin Force games, and then I got the Club Penguin Game Day game on the Wii. So yeah, this game is basically, it's just a mini game collection, essentially. But what was really cool about these games is that I think they were decently fun for you know, technically licensed kids games. I don't know if you could call them licensed. They were, you know, they weren't like the most high quality, but I think considering the fact that they were specifically made to draw attention to this thing right here, you know, Club Penguin, and that was more or less the main inspiration to make this game, I think it came out pretty good. I had a fun time with it with my friends back then. I guess it's a little hard to go back to nowadays because it's a pretty simple game, but it's pretty. I enjoyed it for what it was. I definitely don't regret getting this. And what was cool is that you could transfer the coins that you got in this game into the actual Club Penguin game. That was so freaking cool, and they did that in Elite Penguin Force 2, and I liked it in that game as well. So I did quite enjoy this game. Next, we got Epic Mickey. So Epic Mickey was a really interesting just thing that existed at one point. I think they were trying to, like, you know, market this game as kind of like, whoa, it's this really like cool, edgy take on the Disney, like the traditional Disney characters, like Mickey and Oswald the Rabbit and whatever. You know, all the old style, you know, Disney cartoon characters. They wanted to put them in this really weird, edgy paint world or whatever, where Mickey has like this magic paintbrush where he uses the paintbrush to fight the enemies and whatnot. And I think that, you know, they really, that's why it's called Epic Mickey, because they wanted people to be, you know, they wanted people to see this game and be like, whoa, this is epic, I gotta get this game, which is why I got this game. And in reality, it's a pretty simple platform. I actually remember enjoying this game quite a bit. It's a 3D platformer, and you know, platforming games are some of my favorite games, at least. So I was bound to get some enjoyment out of this game. And I definitely did. I definitely enjoyed it for what it was. I don't remember beating the game. I don't think that I ever did. But I did enjoy playing this. And you know, that's really all you can ask for in any video game, I suppose. And you know, this game, I think it did decently well because it got a sequel, Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two, where the main focus. I mean, like, I think this game was, yeah, it was a single player game, and then the whole thing with Epic Mickey 2 is that it was a multiplayer game. I don't necessarily know if this game was made because Epic Mickey was such a big hit. I mean, I think it was. I can't recall off the top of my head how much it sold, but I think the first Epic Mickey was pretty well received, and so, you know, Epic Mickey 2 was bound to come out, and so it did. And then it was 2-player, and you know, you play as Oswald and help out Mickey and whatnot. And it was more or less, I think it was more or less, you know, more of the same of Epic Mickey 1. But it was still a good time. You know, I remember playing this with some of my friends back in the day, and we got some enjoyment out of it. Never beat it though. I definitely played the first one more than this one, but you know, that was because I mainly had to play by myself, so obviously I was gonna play the single player oriented game more so. But still, wasn't a horrible game. Next, we got Lego Batman, the video game. This this game right here was my shit. I loved Lego Batman. I love the Lego games in general, but Lego Batman specifically was super fun. I remember playing it on my own with friends. It was so fun. I remember actually I played the DS version more, and a lot of my memories with Lego Batman have to do with the DS version. But I did play this version a lot too. It was very, very fun time. I mean, it was very like upgrade. It was very much an upgrade to the DS version in a lot of ways. But for whatever, I think it was just because I played my DS more often than the Wii. Probably because one, I had it for longer, and two, it was just easier to kind of pull out my DS and play like a couple levels or whatever, and so it was a little bit more addicting. Whereas this, I had to obviously go out of my way, go to hell and back to play it. No, it's just, I don't know, I just got more playtime out of the DS version, but I did quite enjoy the Lego Batman video game. I feel like a lot of people have experiences with positive experiences with Lego Batman, and I'm not an exception to that rule, I guess. Next we got Mario Kart Wii. You ever heard of this game? I bet you haven't. It's kind of niche. Mario Kart Wii is a game that a lot of people probably own. This is I believe, the highest selling or top selling game on the Wii. I would be surprised if it wasn't. Everyone and their moms have played this game. Like, it's Mario Kart Wii. What else more is there to say? It defined, you know, the couch co-op racing fun, you know, lighthearted racing game genre, if you can even call that a genre. It's kind of a genre, I guess. But yeah, it was a juggernaut, even, I would say. You know, I think almost everyone on the planet, not everyone has played like certain other Mario Kart games. Like, not, you can't just go up to anyone on the street and ask like, hey, have you played Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS? Not everyone's gonna say yes. Everyone has played Mario Kart Wii. I have yet to meet a person that has never even heard of Mario Kart Wii, at least heard of it, if not played it. It's a super fun game. I remember getting a good amount of playtime out of this. I think this actually came with my Wii. I think the Wii bundle that I ended up getting was the Mario Kart Wii black Wii bundle that came with this and a black Wii wheel. And you know, like I said, I got a lot of playtime out of this. Yeah, it's Mario Kart Wii. Again, what more else is there to say? Another game that I got a lot of playtime out of, New Super Mario Bros. Wii. So, you know, the New Super Mario Bros. Series is kind of polarizing with people. You know, there's a lot of people who think these games got pretty stale. There's a lot of people that think they got stale by this point. I'm not one of those people. I love New Super Mario Bros. I love the series in general. I haven't not enjoyed a New Super Mario Bros. Game. Even the later ones, like New Super Mario Bros. U, specifically New Super Mario Bros. U. I loved that game. I never really got why so many people didn't like it. I mean, I know that all these games are really similar, but I love, like, I think they're good. Like, this is the thing, is that they're similar, but they're good. So it's a good thing that they're similar, because they're all good games. I don't know, like, I'm a little heated. We're talking about New Super Mario Bros. Wii. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I remember watching Let's Plays of it and just thinking, man, I want this game. I remember specifically there was a kiosk. I believe it was either Walmart or Target, that had this little kiosk where you could. This was way back when, but you could go to Walmart or Target and play like one level off of this game. I think it was just the first level, but you could play like a little demo version of this game. And I remember going to that store. Whenever I would go there with my mom, I would beg her to let me go to the electronics section so I could just play that level over and over. I don't know why. I don't know why I was so obsessed with this game, but I was. I just wanted to get it. I finally got it. I played through it. I loved it. I love this game. It's really fun. It's a great multiplayer experience too. I loved playing through it. I remember playing through it with my friends, or at least one of my friends specifically. But, you know, we would on rare occasions get more than, I would get like at least a group of 3, maybe a group of 4 people to play it. It was super fun. Even if you're not great at Mario games, it's a fun time. It's a fun time to play this with friends and like screw around, screw with each other. You know, it's a fun time. It's multiplayer fun. I feel like that's probably even a blurb. Yeah, 4-player action. It's 4-player action. What? It's great. It's a good game. Next, we got Pikmin 2. So, fun fact, I've never actually played Pikmin 1. I've only ever played Pikmin 2 and Pikmin 3. I don't feel like I'm missing out on much because from my understanding, all the Pikmin games, they play pretty similarly. And as far as I know, Pikmin 3 is regarded as the best in the series. And I've played that one, so I don't feel like I'm missing out too much. But yeah, no, never played Pikmin 1, but I have played Pikmin 2. I never beat this game, but I've played through a good amount of it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this game. I definitely, the Pikmin series in general, I get a lot of enjoyment out of those games. But Pikmin 3 is definitely my favorite still. But Pikmin 2, definitely there's a lot to like about this game. And I mean, hell, it was a Nintendo Select for a reason. But yeah, no, and specifically, I gotta say the controls of the Pikmin series with the Wii remote and nunchuck controls are so good. They're so like intuitive. They just make sense, and it just works for this series. And it's a little hard to stomach playing Pikmin games on like the Switch, just because it just doesn't feel as good. But it still feels pretty good. The Pikmin series in general, it's hard to not enjoy even a little bit. So definitely got a good amount of enjoyment out of Pikmin 2. Oh man, Pokepark Wii. What can I say about Pokepark Wii? So I'm a big Pokemon fan. Anyone that knows me probably knows that. And I remember this is another game that I watched a lot of like Let's Plays on YouTube before I got it. And I remember watching this one specific Let's Play that just made the game look so fun. And maybe it was just because I was a dumb like 9-year-old or whatever. But I was just like, man, they need this game. I ended up getting it, and I loved it. I loved this game. This game, I don't think it's regarded as like a super great Pokemon game or Pokemon spin-off, whatever. It's an action, it's like, I don't even know, it's like an adventure game kind of, but it's a lot of like your main goal is to like make friends, but like it's just cool. You play as Pikachu. I feel like a lot of people already know about this game. I'm gonna explain it anyway. You play as Pikachu, you walk around this huge Pokemon inhabited world, and you talk to all these Pokemon, you become friends with them, you can battle them. That was one of the coolest things about this game, was that you can battle these Pokemon. You're literally playing as the Pokemon when you're battling. Granted, you can only play as Pikachu, but still, it was awesome. You can use Thunderbolt and Quick Attack and the Iron Tail and all those. It's awesome. It's so cool. I'm sorry, I'm talking so, like, I'm fumbling all my words, but I'm doing it on purpose because I can't express how much I love Pokepark Wii. That's how I'm expressing to you that I love Pokepark Wii, by stumbling over my words apparently. But yeah, no, I enjoyed this game. I remember playing it with my friends, not recently, but like within the last 5 years, just because we had so much nostalgia for it, and we wanted to see like how far in the game we could get, just playing it on a whim. And we did not get super far because I think we realized, hey, we're not 10 or 9 years old anymore, and this game is a little too simplistic for us now. But it was just a fun time to go back to, because it was just a nostalgia trip, and who doesn't love nostalgia trips, you know what I mean? I like Pokepark Wii. I don't know if I made that clear enough. Anyway, so Pokepark Wii was a great time. Pokepark 2, I really wanted Pokepark 2. When I heard that they were making a sequel to Pokepark 1, I was so excited. I knew there was going to be a bunch of new Pokemon. You could play not as just Pikachu this time, but as Oshawott and Tepig and Snivy as well. And I was like, holy crap, that's game changing. That's amazing. That's awesome. I'm gonna be honest about Pokepark 2. I don't enjoy it as much as Pokepark 1. I think there's just a charm to the first Pokepark game that this game just does not have, unfortunately. I hate to say that because in my heart, deep down in my heart, I want this game to be better. I want this game to be superior to Pokepark Wii, because in a lot of ways it kind of is. You get more Pokemon to play with, you get more Pokemon to befriend, you get more, varied areas, I'd say. You get more ways to become friends with Pokemon, but they did a lot with this game that I don't really agree with. Like, okay, I don't know why. I just feel like the first Pokepark was a lot more memorable in a lot of ways. There was more, it just felt like there was more to do almost. Like more, it was more exciting to play through. I don't know how to exactly explain it. One thing about the first Pokepark, there was these things in the game called attractions, and those were basically like mini games. within the game. So like you're walking around in these worlds and you can meet like these Pokemon that, I forget what they're called. They're like attraction bosses or whatever. And you go to them and you're like, hey, I want to play this attraction. And then you play it and it's like a little mini game. They weren't that complex, but they were still a fun little thing to do. And a lot of them were similar. I remember that. A lot of them were like, oh, run to the other side or swing on these vines or whatever. A lot of them were really similar, but they were still really fun. This game, and not to mention that there were so many. There was like 20 attractions in that game, right? This game, there's only 4. Only 4 attractions. I don't understand why they didn't include more or as many, if not more than the first game. They only have 4. You only play 4 attractions in the whole game as part of the story. And there's not even any, there's no like post game or whatever. It's just 4 attractions and you're done. And I don't understand that. I never understood that. And that was one of my big gripes with this game that I remember. Other than that, I just think Poke Park Wii, I just think it's just more memorable in a lot of ways. I don't know. This game, I don't want to say it disappointed me, but it kind of did. I'm going to be honest. I know, it was a little controversial opinion, but that's how I feel. I'm tired of acting like I don't feel that way. Oh, goodness, I just dropped a bunch of games. All right, that's fine. All right, moving on. We got Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. So if you owned a Wii in 2010 to 2011, you know what this game is. Even if you didn't own a Wii, if you just were you were cognizant of gaming culture at all, you know what Skylanders is. Skylanders essentially started a whole movement, the Toys to Life movement. You know, there was already sort of like I think there was always a fascination with like including real life elements into video games, or like somehow tying, you know, real life things, real life objects into like, you know, gaming and video game experiences. I think that's as far as like, you know, Rob the Robot from the NES, or, you know, as more recent as like the DK Bongos from Donkey Konga and those games. And there was always a fascination with like you're doing something in real life that affects the game that you're playing. You know, there was always something like that. This is where I think it really like hit home for a lot of people. It was this specific series. Now, granted, I don't think the Toys to Life phenomenon, if you will, lasted as long as probably companies wanted, because, you know, these games, okay, in general, these games were okay for the most part. Skylanders specifically, I remember really enjoying. There was a great cast of characters. It was a fun, high-quality game for kids, and I liked it a lot for that. These games, they were just raking in cash, because not only are you getting the game, which you have to get in a pack. You have to get the game in a pack, because here's the thing about this game. You can't play it without the figures. You need to have at least one figure to play through the game. It's not even... So you have to get the game with at least 3 figures. The game always came with 3 figures, from what I remember. That alone, 3 figures, and then like the portal, and then like, I think that was the main components. And then there was like, you know, things to hook up to the portal that you put the figures on, whatever. That alone, I think, cost like upward of $100. That alone, just for that component of this game. And then there's the fact that there's like 30 plus Skylanders in total, each of which would cost normally around like $7 or $8 at retail. So what, you're looking at like $200 over $200 in figures alone for this game, and then you're paying $100 for the game itself with 3 other figures. It's insane, and so many people bought into it, including myself. Obviously, look at me. I'm not any better than anyone else. But you know what? I do not regret getting this game in the slightest, because I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was a fun time, and I got a lot of these figures, and it definitely improves the experience when you get a lot of the figures. I'm not gonna lie, like it's by design. Like they wanted you to go out, they wanted kids to beg their parents to buy them more figures, because they were like, I gotta get this. Well, okay, he was in the starter pack. I gotta get the lava guy. I need the lava guy to have fun, Mom. You don't understand. Like, it's so, I need this freaking tree stump bitch. I need him to have fun. You don't understand, Mom. You don't understand my please. Anyway, yeah, I like Skylanders a good amount. Alright, moving on. We got Skylanders Giants. Everything that I said about Skylanders Spyro's Adventure applies to this game. mainly the only thing that changed between Skylanders and this game was that they added giant figures. And I did get quite a bit of the giant figures. That's the main difference. I mean, like, there's not much more to comment about this game. I actually kind of prefer the first one, just because I feel like there was more to do in the first one from what I remember. I felt like the adventure in this game was a little shorter. And I was not the biggest fan about that. Yeah, no, there's like over 45 Skylanders now in this game. What was cool about this game is that all of your progress from the first game, like all of the figures that you had from the first game, could be used in this game, along with the new ones, which I thought was really cool. I mean, it's not. I feel like it's not that hard to like implement that into this type of game, but it was still really cool. It was a novelty because it's like you don't have to go out and buy a shit ton more figures to have fun with this game. Granted, there was still a starter pack that probably costed upwards of $100, but that still, my point is that this game, you know, there's a lot to offer in this game. Still prefer the first one a little bit, but that's okay. Still enjoyed this game. Definitely got my money's worth, even though I didn't buy that game. Definitely got my money's worth out of it. Moving on, we got Sonic and the Secret Rings. So on the contrary of games that I did not get my money's worth, so this game is a little polarizing. I mean, a lot of Sonic games are, but this game specifically, it's a Sonic game. You can't deny that. I mean, Sonic, he's right there. But the thing about this game is that it was so. I remember I wasn't a huge Sonic fan at the time when I first got this game. I just remember, I think my mom got it for me because she was like, oh yeah, Sonic's a fun character. Antonio will probably like this. And so she got it for me. And I remember playing it, and I wasn't a huge Sonic fan. And this game was not turning me into a Sonic fan. I remember just playing it and being like, this is not fun to play. And I had very little, if anything, to compare it to. Because I never had really played a Sonic game before. So it was a little, I don't know, like I was just like, if this was what Sonic's like, I don't know if I like Sonic. I think my only experience with Sonic was like his inclusion in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which is a game I will get to soon. But yeah, I did not enjoy this game a whole lot. I'm gonna be honest, and I don't think I'm alone with that. I think there's a lot of people that didn't quite enjoy this game. I don't really know what it was. I think that like it's just weird because it was developed by Sega. I get one of these companies just kind of screwed up here, but it just didn't play like a fun Sonic game. And there are other Sonic games on the Wii, two of which I'm about to talk about, that definitely played a lot better than this one. I just don't feel like, I don't know, it did not hit home for me, this game. I don't know. I don't even remember playing much of it. Like, I wish I had more to comment about this game, but at the same time, I don't wish that I had more to comment about this game, because I don't really want to be talking about this game anymore. I want to move on to the next game, actually, and that is Sonic Colors. So Sonic Colors is a Sonic game that I quite enjoyed. I got Sonic and the Secret Rings first, and I played that one. Wasn't a big fan. Got this game. I saw the appeal. I saw the appeal of Sonic. I enjoyed this game quite a bit. I don't think it's as great as a lot of people make it out to be, but that doesn't change the fact that it's a good game. At its core, this is a good Sonic game. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think Sonic was in a weird place when this came out. Like, I feel like all the Sonic games that were coming out were very hit or miss. I mean, I don't feel like that's a polarizing opinion, but I feel like this game, like, they had a very good balance of just material in this game, for lack of a better way of putting it. It was just a very well polished experience. It was, it was fast. It was fast paced. You had cool power ups. These like Wisps characters. Interesting premise. Interesting setting. The whole intergalactic amusement park. There was a lot to this game that was enjoyable, which is why I think they brought back the Wisps in other games, which didn't really quite make sense because they only really make sense in the context of this game if you really think about it. But still, good game. I quite enjoyed Sonic Colors for the Wii. Moving on, we have the most recent Wii game that I have added to my collection, Sonic Unleashed. So you may be thinking, why did I decide to get this game? Well, I saw this at a thrift store, or not a thrift store, it was a used game store. And I remember always kind of thinking, it'd be cool to try out Sonic Unleashed one day. And then I found it at a used game store, and I was like, maybe this is my chance to get Sonic Unleashed, and it was only like $10, I think. So I was like, hey, you know what? For like an old Wii game that no one really wants, that's not bad. And I've heard good things about Sonic Unleashed, so I was like, you know what? Might as well. So I did, and I popped it in, and I played it for like 20 minutes, and I was like, huh, this is definitely a Sonic game. And then I stopped playing, and I just said I was gonna play it more later. What I would come to realize is that apparently, supposedly, this is the worst version of Sonic Unleashed, which, in a sense, I don't care about that much. I don't really know why yet. Like I said, I have not played much of this game yet, but I intend to, because I hear that as much as people hated on this game when it first came out, I feel like there's a lot of people that look back on it with a lot of fondness, and I want to see what all that fondness. I want to see, I want justification for that fondness. So I don't necessarily know if this version of the game, if the Wii version of this game specifically, is going to allow me to see that, but we'll never know if we don't try, right? So one day I will play this game, but right now I just kind of enjoy the novelty of owning it. Next, we got Super Mario Galaxy 2. So here's another fun fact about me. I have never actually owned the Wii version of Super Mario Galaxy 1, which you might think is kind of weird, because why on earth would I have Super Mario Galaxy 2 but not Super Mario Galaxy 1? Here's the thing. I have played through the entirety of Super Mario Galaxy 1 from the Super Mario 3D All-Stars pack on the Switch. That's right. My first time ever playing Super Mario Galaxy 1 was on the Switch with not the Wii controls, which you may think is a little weird, because it kind of is, I guess. But I did play through the entirety of this game first, and in my opinion, I think the two Mario Galaxy games, they're very independent of each other. Independent of each other. As in, you can play through this whole game, which I did. You can play through this whole game without ever playing the first one and still understand it and have fun with it and not be confused as to what's going on. And that's why I really like this game. In fact, I think I like this better than the original. Now, granted, if I had played the original on the Wii and experienced it in that way, and then I played this one, maybe I would have more fondness for the original. But I feel like this game has a lot that the other game just didn't have, because I feel like Super Mario Galaxy 2 takes what Super Mario Galaxy 1 did and just improves upon it. Almost like it's almost like Super Mario Galaxy with DLC, which I think is almost what it was going to be, in a funny way. Like, I think that's the backstory with this game. But nevertheless, like, I feel like it's just, in a lot of ways, it's better than the first one, personally. Now, the first one that's not saying a lot in terms of, like, that. I'm not even saying that the first one's bad, because the first one is incredible. Even playing it on the Switch, I was like, I can see why this game is so many people's, like, favorite Mario game, or just favorite game in general, because it's an amazing Mario game. But that just goes to show you, like, how great I think this game is, because I think that this game is better, even though I think the other one is amazing as well. So it just really shows the quality of these games in general, I guess. But I really enjoyed Super Mario Galaxy 2. Like I said, I'm a big platformer guy. I'm a big Mario fan. So it was not hard for me to like this game. I don't think I ever 100% completed it. I think I only got to like 120 stars, maybe some of the like bonus ones, because I think there's like 240 in total in this game. I think I probably got to like maybe like 150 or 170 around that range, and then I stopped playing. But maybe one day I'll go back and complete it finally. Next, we got Super Paper Mario, another somewhat polarizing Mario game, or just game in general, on the Wii. So, here's the thing about Super Paper Mario. I think this was the first Paper Mario game I ever played, which very much impacts, I think, my impressions of it, because I didn't know what Paper Mario as a series was before this game. Because all I knew, and I think all that, like, my mom knew when she got this game for me, or whoever got this game for me, I think all they knew is that Mario is a wholesome character, and I think they knew that I liked Mario. And I think when they saw this game, it was like, oh, that looks like a Mario game. There you go. Like, you know, and I was thankful for that because I do very much like Mario. I didn't know what Super Paper Mario meant. I didn't know what this collection of words meant at the time, but I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try. And I remember playing it, and I loved this game. I loved it. I loved it so much. I was like, this is so fun. It's like a platformer, but then you got like these really cool bosses that you don't typically see in, you know, traditional Mario games. There's some RPG elements. I was already a Pokemon fan at the time, so I enjoyed RPGs to an extent. You got to play as Peach and Bowser and all these varied characters. You could like turn the 2D plane into 3D. I was like, holy crap, this is the future. I love this game. Like I just thought this game was really cool. And then I played the original Paper Mario, you know, years afterwards, and I was like, you know what? This is a really cool Mario game too. And I kind of see why people wanted Paper Mario to go back to that style. But I still like even with that, I still think that there's a lot to love about this game. I don't think that this is a bad Paper Mario game by any means. Is it different from the old ones, from the old traditional traditional RPG style ones? Totally, it's totally different, but I think that's what makes it so special. Like it's different in a good way. It's not different like Sticker Star. It's different in a good way, and that's why I enjoy it. So I quite like Super Paper Mario. Next we have, oh man, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think this is my favorite Wii game of all time. Yeah, no, I loved this game so much. I cannot express that enough. I don't think any amount of things that I can say about this game, no matter how much I praise this game, it can even begin to describe how much I appreciate this game for what it did for my just impressions of gaming in general. And now here's the thing. The funny thing about this game is that the only reason I got it was because I knew Mario and Pikachu. I didn't know who any of these other motherfuckers were. All right, excuse my language. Well, I mean, I knew that this guy was a Pokemon trainer, sure. I kind of knew, like, I knew Peach, I knew Kirby, whatever. Yeah, sure. I knew Link a little bit, but like overall, I wasn't super aware of who these other characters were, right? Because all I knew was Mario and Pikachu. That's all I knew. But I got this game regardless because I was like, huh, that looks kind of interesting. I popped into the Wii and I was in. I was just completely invested in this game. You know, I played through like the story mode with the Subspace Emissary, which is amazing campaign. There's some problems with it, but overall, so enjoyable. I love platforming, like I've said multiple times, so it was fun. It was basically a platforming game, or basically a platforming adventure mode, so it wasn't hard for me to like it for that reason. But overall, I just really enjoyed Super Smash Bros. And it just introduced me to all of these other gaming characters. Because there's so many characters in the game. Obviously, Smash Bros. Ultimate has over double the amount. But there were so many characters in the game. I was floored. I was like, holy crap, I can play Sonic, or Snake, or Wario, or Link, or Kirby, or Peach, or Zelda, or all these characters. I was like, holy crap, this is a perfect game. And there's so much content in this game, other than the story mode and the battle mode. Like, there's so much to do. There's so much to collect, so many trophies to look at. The music is great. The visuals are good. Like, they're a little, dark and sort of edgy looking, but I think that like I like that as a small, like, 10-year-old or 11-year-old, however old I was when I got this. I enjoyed that. I liked it. I appreciated that. This game, man, I'm so glad that I got this game and that I got to play it, and I remember having such a great time with friends. Smash Brothers as a franchise is one of the greats out there, and I'm always going to have a super strong affinity for this game. So, probably, yeah, definitely my favorite Wii game of all time. Next, we got Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. So, I don't know if you guys know this. I'm not like the biggest Zelda fan. I think that the Zelda franchise is incredible. I think that there is a lot to appreciate. I acknowledge how iconic the Zelda franchise is. Never was really able to get into it though. I remember playing a little bit of this game, and I don't know what it was. I just don't think I was into it a whole lot. I don't think I knew a whole lot about what Zelda was at the time, so I wasn't like super invested in what was going on. And I never even really got past the first area, I remember, in this game. I just wasn't... I think I got to the point where he turned into a wolf, and then that was about it. I don't think I really got much further than that. Which is unfortunate because I hear that this is actually like a pretty good Zelda game. Like, as much as I remember, I don't think a lot of people I don't think a lot of people hold it in the highest regard in comparison to other Zelda games, but I still think, like, I know that a lot of people love this game, and I want to give it a chance because I know it deserves it. I'm not as invested in the Zelda franchises as I wish I was, and that's just I'm just gonna be honest. Maybe if I someday get the Wii U version, because I know that the Wii U version, you know, ditches the motion controls, which I think was some people's problem with this game. Maybe that was partially my problem with it. I honestly don't remember. But maybe one day, if I get that version of the game, I'll end up playing it. Who knows? But overall, like, I know that this is a good game. I want to play it someday, but today is not that day, unfortunately. Today I'm talking about playing it. Finally, we have Wii Sports. It's Wii Sports. What do you want me to say? What? I'm not even going to say anything else. That's my Wii game collection, guys. Thank you guys for watching. No, actually, no. This video is not over yet because guys, I want to talk about 4 more games that I don't have here because I want to really quick include my GameCube game collection into this video. Right here, we have the only 4 GameCube games that I've ever owned up to this point when I'm filming this. But you know, maybe I'll get more later on. But I want to talk about these because these are almost, I consider them to be part of my Wii game collection in a sense. So we're gonna go through and talk about this. So consider this to be a little bonus, you know, sort of segment to this video because I am done talking about my Wii games. But I just wanted to throw this in really quick. So first we got Animal Crossing. So the original Animal Crossing. I love the Animal Crossing franchise. I remember at the point when I got this game. Now you might notice one thing about this game is that it's very clearly the GameCube box art printed out onto a Wii box. It's mainly because I got this at a used game store, and this is all that they had. I don't know. I never understood why this ever happens. Like, why there ends up... I mean, maybe this was printed out. I think this was printed out. I don't think that this was, like, original GameCube box art. Yeah, this was definitely printed out. Now I'm looking at it closer. This is not, like, original GameCube, like, box packaging quality. This was definitely printed out onto a piece of paper and then put into a Wii game case. But I never, like, I don't know. I wish I had the original box. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, I don't have the original box, but that's okay because this game is still really good. I loved the Animal Crossing franchise. I remember when I got this game, I had played New Leaf. New Leaf was my introduction to the Animal Crossing series, and I love New Leaf. And when I saw that they were selling this game at a used game store, I was like, I gotta try out the original. I gotta get the original, gotta try it out. And I did. And one thing I will say is that they have gone so far. They have improved the series so much since this game. You know, with New Leaf and New Horizons, there's so many things about those games that improve upon this one. And you may interpret that like I'm saying this game is bad, but that's not at all what I'm saying, because this game is still amazing for a GameCube game, for like an early 2000s GameCube game. This is still awesome. This was almost gonna be on the N64, I think, actually. Yeah, no, this is a great GameCube game. It's super fun. It's super atmospheric. It's just a great, like, comfort game. And I think that's why I love the Animal Crossing franchise. You gotta have those comfort games sometimes to balance out the more, like, you know, the games that just have more stuff going on. Because this game is it's so comfy. It's so comfy to just pop in and just walk around your town, talk to your villagers, do some chores. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't sound fun when you describe it that way, but, like, it is. It just is. And I think everyone should try out Animal Crossing at some point. Next, we got Mario Kart Double Dash. So I think I'm confident in saying that this is my favorite Mario Kart game. This is also the first... Well, okay, no, this is not the first Mario Kart game I've ever got, but this is actually the first GameCube game I ever got. And I love this game so much. I played this. I want to say I played this more than Mario Kart Wii, but I don't think that's true. Because if not only because Mario Kart Wii was easier for me to play multiplayer, just because, you know, you just pop it in and it was, I don't know, it was a Wii game. It was a Wii game being played on a Wii. I never owned a GameCube. I only ever owned a Wii and played GameCube games on it. And it was just more convenient to play Wii with other people because other people had Wiis. Other people had played Mario Kart Wii before, so it was just easier to play that with people than this. But I loved this game so much. There's just a lot about this game that it makes it so different from like more modern Mario Kart games. I mean, obviously there's the fact that you got 2 people on one cart. That's obviously one thing, but I feel like the item balancing, the tracks, the physics, like a lot about this game just like really, it just feels fun. Like I feel like you need to experience it for yourself. You need to you sit down, experience this Mario Kart game to really understand why it's so fun. Even now, I think that this Mario Kart game specifically holds up I think it holds up the best besides Mario Kart 8. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is no doubt, in my mind, the definitive Mario Kart experience. Like, you gotta play Mario Kart 8 anytime you want to play Mario Kart. Unless you like want the novelty of playing an older one. But this one is just as fun as that one. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And I don't know what else to say. Like, it looks good for a GameCube game. That's one thing that I really appreciate. Like I said, like there's really fun. Like the courses are good. I like almost all of the courses in this game except for Baby Park. Yeah, it's a super fun Mario Kart game, and I'm really glad that I own it. Second to last, we got Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. So I unfortunately do not own what was the other one? Pokemon Coliseum, which is the prequel to this game. Technically the first one. This is the sequel to Pokemon Coliseum. I wish I owned that one because I feel like it's easier to, I was about to say easier to stomach this game after you've played the first one. Not that this one is hard to stomach though. This is a good Pokemon game. This is a really unique Pokemon game. I actually really appreciate how different this game is from other Pokemon games because it's so interesting to me that Pokemon had such an interesting just setup for Pokemon games, and then they just never really did something like this again. I mean, I know that obviously we have like 3D Pokemon games, so there's no novelty in making a 3D Pokemon game that's different from the norm because you can just make the main series games like this. Because this one, it's technically not a main series game, which I always found weird about this game because it plays like a main series game, but there's so much about this game that makes it different from the traditional main series games, obviously. I mean, first of all, it was on the GameCube at the time, when every Pokemon game was on handheld consoles. So that alone made it such a different, and it plays, like I said, it plays like a traditional Pokemon RPG. But there's just a lot about this game. The setup for the story is cool. I like the characters. The music is good. I like the fact that there's a limited Pokemon roster because it forces you to be more creative in your team building and not just use the ones that you like, because you got to work with the options that it gives you. And I really like that about this game. And I think that from what I can tell, they improved upon Coliseum a lot with this game specifically. And I hope to one day play Pokemon Coliseum as well, because I know that game is also very fun. But I'm just super glad that I ended up getting this game either way. And finally, everyone knows this game. It's Super Smash Bros. Melee. This is the definitive GameCube title. If you know what a GameCube is, you know what Super Smash Bros. Melee is. Hell, you might not even know what GameCube is. You might just know about this game because this is still this is held in high regard as one of the best just games, like fighting games in general. And, people still play it to this day, even though Ultimate is, in my opinion, better. People still play this game, and for good reason. I feel I sound like I'm hating on this game. I'm not hating on this game. I know how good this game is. I played it. Obviously, I own it. But I don't know, man. I think that there's a little bit too, like, this game is a little overrated. A little bit. It's still a great game. Smash Brothers as a franchise is an amazing franchise. I think I'm more biased to Brawl. But I realized I played this one quite a bit. I remember when one of my friends had it, and we would go over to his house and play it all the time because it was so fun. But even then, like, I think Brawl is still always going to be my favorite Smash Brothers game. Even in comparison to Ultimate, I know. Maybe it's just nostalgia, I don't know. But overall, I know how good of a game this is, and I acknowledge that it's a good game. It is a good game. This is an incredible Smash Brothers game, and an incredible GameCube game, an incredible game in general. And this, I feel like this is when Smash Brothers really understood what it was, like, as a franchise. I mean, obviously, this was the second game in the series, but I think that that's also what makes it so interesting, because the difference between the first Smash Brothers game and this game, to me, is like night and day, because this one just improves upon the Smash Brothers formula so well in comparison to the first game. Like, the first game was very much like growing pains, you know? This game is like, it hit puberty, and puberty hit it well. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it's just a really good game. It's a really good package. And when I saw it at another used game store, I was like, I gotta pick it up. It's an iconic game. It's an iconic Smash Brothers. It's an iconic Nintendo game. And I'm really glad that I own it. Like I've said with all of the games so far. Yeah. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my Wii collection, Wii game collection, and my subsequent GameCube game collection. Hope you guys enjoyed me talking for however long I talked. I don't know, because I cut the camera once, and I don't know how long this video is going to be. All that I know is that I spit on my camera a lot while I was filming this. To everyone that has even an ounce of respect for me, did you know that I owned a Wii U? This is my Wii U game collection. Yes, I am one of the few in the world that actually wanted and eventually got a Nintendo Wii U. Yes, the Wii U was not Nintendo's most popular console by a long shot, but I nevertheless really wanted it when I was younger, and you know what? I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't regret getting a Wii U at all. I had so much fun with it. I remember at the time, I remember there was a lot of hype for the Wii U, at least within my friend group. I think with maybe in my immediate friends that were as into Nintendo as I was, or, you know, at least understood my, respected my enjoyment of Nintendo games more so than they probably would today. I remember when I got a Wii U, I was super excited to play it with people, and experience all of these new games. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. The Wii U era was one of my favorite eras of gaming history in general. I just feel like I was always constantly excited for video games when the Wii U was new and when games were coming out for it. And I'm still obviously excited for games nowadays, but there's just something about this time that just I have a lot of strong, good memories of, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I would like to share with you some of those memories today by talking about my little collection that I have here. So starting off, we have a very interesting game to start off with talking about here. Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. Sorry, I was reading the name of the game from my viewfinder on the camera here, and it was a little blurry. But yes, Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. So why do I have this game? Well, and why is this the first game I'm talking about here? Well, in case you couldn't tell from this little setup here, I ordered all of my games in alphabetical order, so this was just bound to happen. This was just inevitable, okay, that the Batman was going to be first. Anyways, the reason why I have this game, I remember going over to my uncle's house a lot when I was younger, and I specifically remember playing Batman Arkham Asylum on his Xbox 360. I loved that game. I played through the entire story. We would go over, me and my dad, we would go over to his house every other night, essentially, and just play, you know, Xbox 360. They would let me, like, he would just let me play his Xbox 360, play through the Batman game. Just anytime I was there, I would get through a little bit of the Batman game, and then we would play like some multiplayer game like soccer or whatever. And I love this game. I love that game. I loved playing through it. It was super fun. I never really played through a game like that before, but I remember enjoying it quite a lot. And so when I finally got like a Wii U for my, like, you know, a console that had a Batman Arkham game on it, I was like, I want that game, so I ended up getting Batman Arkham City. I think this is the sequel to Arkham Asylum, but I remember just not enjoying this game as much. Maybe it was because it was on the Wii U. I feel like it was probably because it was on the Wii U. But I don't know. There was just something about the first Batman Arkham game that I just enjoyed a lot more. But I honestly don't remember too much about this game, just because I just don't feel like this game sticks out in my mind as much as other Wii U games that I played. But I don't think this is a bad game. I just feel like if you're gonna get it, you probably shouldn't get it on the Wii U. Anyway, let's talk about a good Wii U game now. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. This game is probably one of the best platformers of all time. I love platformers as a genre, and Donkey Kong, I never really played the other Donkey Kong Country games before this one. I think I played what was the other one? Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. I think that was my first Donkey Kong Country game that I ever played, and I liked it a lot. I really enjoyed Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. And I think that's what made me want this game, because I was like, if this is just more of that game, then yeah, sign me up. And I love this game. I played through so much of it. I don't think I ever beat it, unfortunately, but I did play through quite a bit of it, and I don't regret that time, because it was a super fun time. I remember one of my friends borrowed it, and he played it, and he loved it, and it was incredible. This is an incredible game. It's incredibly polished. The platforming is perfect, and there's Donkey Kong. There's no funky mode, whatever, in this game, unfortunately. So maybe the Switch version is the superior version, whatever. This game is still great. This one did it first, let it be known. Next, we got Hyrule Warriors. All right, so, I'm not the hugest Zelda fan, but I saw this game and I was like, you know what? This game looks pretty cool. I never had played a Dynasty Warriors game, but you know what? I was like, if I'm going to get into a Dynasty Warriors game, it's probably going to be the Zelda one, unless they make a Pokemon one. They never did, so Zelda one was the next best option. So, and you know what? I actually really did enjoy this game. I don't think I'm the biggest fan of this style of game, but I remember enjoying it quite a bit. Just in general, playing through it, beating up all these enemies. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed my time with this game quite a bit. I'm still not the biggest Zelda fan, so I feel like if I was, I probably would have gotten more enjoyment out of this game. But nevertheless, definitely had a fun time, and I know a lot of Zelda fans did as well. It's Hyrule Warriors. That's final verdict. It's Hyrule Warriors. All right, moving on, we got Injustice: Gods Among Us. This was another instance of I wanted more edgy games. I think that was sort of the same case with Batman Arkham City. I feel like if I really thought about it, I'd be like, yeah, I don't need Batman Arkham City on my Wii U. But I think a part of me was like, no, I want to prove that I'm a serious gamer. I want to prove that I'm a hardcore gamer, even though I don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation, whatever, you know what I mean? And so I got Injustice: Gods Among Us. I was like, whoa, this game looks so cool. Look at it, it's so dark, and all these villains, and it's rated T for teen, and oh wow, look at this. And I remember playing it, and you know what? I did enjoy this game. These games aren't the reason why I wanted the Wii U. And I think that's what it came down to, was that I was getting them more so because I felt like I wanted to say that I owned this game rather than I wanted to play this game, if that makes sense. But I did play it a little bit with friends and enjoyed myself enough. But, overall, I just feel like there was other multiplayer games that I was a little bit more worried about around this time. Speaking of which, we have Mario Kart 8. So, Mario Kart 8 is probably the best Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe specifically. But this one did it first. Mario Kart 8, I think it perfected the Mario Kart formula in a lot of ways. The graphics are really great. I remember I was super hyped for this game leading up to its release, because I already had a Wii U at this point when this game came out. And I was just waiting for this game to drop. And I was just like, man, when it finally came out, I played it all the time, man. And when I found out that they were coming out with DLC for it, I was like, hell yeah, I'll get more Mario Kart 8 shit. And then I did. And I really enjoyed this game, and I ended up getting all the DLC for this game. I beat all the cups. I don't think I beat them all on 150cc because I suck. As much as I love Mario Kart, I'm not the best at Mario Kart. I think I'm okay. I think I'm decent. I think I'm good at Mario Kart generally, but I was not good at the 150cc races. Like I just couldn't. I couldn't get the gold triple star, 3-star on that. So that's always gonna be one of my biggest life regrets. But you know what? It's Mario Kart 8. You know, it was inevitable that it was gonna cause me some trauma. Anyway, moving on, we have New Super Mario Bros. U plus New Super Luigi U. So, I've stated in other videos that I love the New Super Mario Bros. Series as much as people like to hate on it. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think this is my favorite in the franchise. I don't know. There's just a lot about this game that I like. I don't know. I remember being so excited. Like, this is one of the games that I was most excited to get once I got the Wii U. And this was one of the first games I did get with. In fact, I think this was a pack-in title with the Wii U. I think I got this with my Wii U, and I couldn't have asked for a better game to get, because not only did I get New Super Mario Bros. U, but I got New Super Luigi U. I got 2 games in one with the Wii U. How could I ask for anything more? It was great. But yeah, no. I really like the New Super Mario Bros. Series, and I like I said, I think New Super Mario Bros. U is my favorite. There's just the level design is great. The power-ups are great. I just think it's Wii, but better in a lot of ways. I don't know. The world map was awesome. You know, the multiplayer was still super fun. You know, I don't know. I don't know how to describe in any other words like why I like this game so much. It's a fun time. I like platforming games. That doesn't hurt. I like Mario games. I like playing bullshit multiplayer games with friends. That helps. It's just a good time. I enjoyed New Super Mario Bros. U quite a lot. New Super Luigi U definitely also. Yeah, you know, it was a good time. Next we have Nintendo Land, possibly the best multiplayer experience you will get on the Wii U besides Mario Kart potentially. It's a super fun game. I think this was like a launch title for the Wii U, and I do think it's a good launch title. I don't necessarily think that it has as much entertainment value as Mario Kart or other maybe more general multiplayer games, because I feel like if you're a Nintendo fan, you're going to enjoy this. I feel like it's harder, not impossible, but it's harder for like general audiences to like get a lot of enjoyment out of this, because there's a lot of niche Nintendo references in this that I don't think everyone's going to get. And I don't think all of the mini games are as easy to like pick up and play as like Wii Sports was, as they were in Wii Sports or Mario Kart. That's just how it is. But I still think that this is one of the, if you can convince people to play this, it's a great time. It's always going to be a great time. The Luigi's Mansion game, the Mario Chase game, the Zelda Adventure game, the Metroid game. The Metroid game is so fun. The Metroid game is so fun, dude. Oh my goodness. I love the Metroid, the multiplayer Metroid game. And they got some single player games that are decently fun. The Donkey Kong one comes to mind specifically. That's kind of the only one that comes to mind specifically, but still, it's still a good time. You got the Animal Crossing one. That one's decently fun. There's just a lot in this package that I just think is really enjoyable. Yeah, it's Nintendo Land. I think that's just how I'm going to end all of my rants about each of these games. Rayman Legends. This is another game that I got when I first got my Wii U. It's a platformer. I like platformers. I never played a Rayman game before this one. So this was kind of an interesting choice of game to get. But I was like, you know what? I'm willing to try it out. I think my aunt got this for me, and I think that she liked Rayman when she was younger. So I think she was like, oh, they have a new Rayman game? Like, I gotta get this for my nephew. And then she did. And I remember playing through this entire game with her because it was co-op. And we beat the whole game, and we got all the stuff. We 100%ed it, I'm pretty sure, and it was super fun. I enjoyed this game a lot. I think it's really a lot more fun when you're playing it multiplayer. I don't think I would go back and play this game single player personally, but I still really enjoyed my time playing this. And you got these like little cool like Mario and Luigi costumes for Rayman and his little buddy here, this guy right here. And I thought that was really cool. It was kind of a superfluous thing to add to the game, but I still quite enjoyed it. And I feel like this game was like built for the Wii U. I think it actually literally was, and then it got delayed so they could port it to other consoles. But I think that this was built around the Wii U because there's a lot of like Wii U gamepad integration with this little guy right here. And I remember thinking that it was really awkward playing because I have the definitive edition of this game on the Switch, and I remember thinking that it was really awkward the way that they integrated him into that game, because it's so clear that it just works better if you're using the gamepad to like tap him on into the screen. Like that's, in my opinion, that's just how it feels. But still, overall, good game. It's Rayman Legends. Moving on, we have Scribblenauts Unmasked. So this is another interesting game that I own. So I like the Scribblenauts franchise. I have Scribblenauts and Super Scribblenauts on the DS. I enjoy that game. I think I have Scribblenauts Unlimited for the 3DS. I think I do. I talked about it in my 3DS video. Whatever, you know, you've seen that one, you've seen it. Either way, I like the Scribblenauts franchise, and when I saw that they were making a DC Comics based one, I was like, huh, that's interesting. Do I remember much about this game? Not at all. I actually don't remember playing this very much at all. I just remember, oh, you know, it's a Scribblenauts game, and you can write the names of various, you know, superheroes and supervillains from the DC universe, and they will appear in the game. And that's about the most that I remember, honestly. But you know, it's a Scribblenauts game. If you like Scribblenauts, you're probably gonna like this. I think I ended up getting this on the Switch too, because I think it came out on the Switch in like a pack with like Scribblenauts Unlimited as well, and I was just like, yeah, why not? I'll get it. And I still haven't played it on that, but I have it on Wii U. So if I ever want to go back to the Wii U, it's here. Yeah, it's Scribblenauts Unmasked. Anyway, moving on, we have Super Mario 3D World. This game, man. This game, another game that I got when I first got my Wii U. I love this game. I remember this came out at a time when, first of all, people really were getting tired of the very generic style of Mario game, and I feel like a lot of them were coming out, especially with the new Super Mario Bros. Games. There was not a whole lot of like creative Mario games that were coming out in the same vein as, like, you know, Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy. Like, they were not in that vein, that very creative open world style of Mario game. And so when this game came out, I don't think it was received as positively as it would have if it came out nowadays, maybe, or if it came out, I don't know. I don't necessarily know if there was ever a good time for this to come out. But that being said, this is a great game. Like, this is a great platform. I love platforming games. I don't know what to say, man. I love platforming games. I love Mario games. This is a great iteration of both of those. The power-ups are great. The cat suit is a great power-up. The visuals are good. They're super great for the Wii U. It runs perfectly. It controls really well. I don't know what much. I feel like a lot of people have experienced this game because of the re-release on the Switch, which I think is great, because I think that's a very well worth your time. That port of this game. But the Wii U version of this game is still really good. If you have the Switch version, you might as well play that. But if you don't have the Switch version and you have a Wii U set up and you have this game, this is a really fun time. I really quite enjoyed Super Mario 3D World. I didn't really play it multiplayer very much, just because, I don't know. I think at the time, it was a little harder to get people to want to play this specific Mario game as opposed to like Smash Brothers or even like New Super Mario Bros. Wii. But so I mainly played this single player, but I really did enjoy it for what it was, and I think that now more than ever we can look like I feel like everyone can look back on this game and see how get a fondness out of it that maybe you couldn't get when it first came out. But even when I first got it, I was super fond of it. It's Super Mario 3D World. Next, we have Super Mario Maker. So this was one of the last Wii U games that I got, I think, just because, you know, when it came out, it was so late into the Wii U's lifespan. But I remember this being like one of the last like major Wii U games that I wanted, because the idea of it was so novel in concept, just being able to make your own Mario levels in a Mario level creator that was endorsed by Nintendo. Like that was crazy. Like I think it was awesome to get this. And I remember like, I think when I first got it, I think a couple of my friends came over and we played it, and we just like played a bunch of like user levels, and we dicked around in the level creator, and that was super fun. I remember the fact that the Amiibo support in this game was so cool. It was like the coolest iteration of Amiibo integration into any of these games that I'd ever experienced. You could literally, almost every Amiibo in existence when this came out, you could tap onto your gamepad and get the ability to turn into them in the game with this little mushroom, only in the 8-bit versions of the levels, but still, that was enough, because it was still so cool. You could turn into Link, or Sonic, or Pikachu, or the other Pokemon, or anyone. You could turn into anyone. It was so cool. I loved it. I love this game. I'm not the most creative when it comes to making levels, so I didn't make a whole lot of, well, that's not true. I made a good amount of levels. They weren't really that cool. I remember making like levels like, oh, I'm gonna try to recreate Club Penguin with the limitations of the Super Mario Maker level editor and all that, like stuff like that. Like, it was just mainly for me, mainly for novelty for me, but I didn't like make a whole lot of like serious levels that I would like post on like the Mario Maker, like, you know, I almost said forums, but it was more like the servers, whatever you want to call them, that I would post for people to play. But I enjoyed playing other people's levels. I enjoyed just seeing all the different, like, I think they had some free updates after this game came out, and I remember like seeing those and being like, oh, that's cool, like they added this really cool thing. And yeah, no, I enjoyed this game. I think this was like the last good Wii U game that came out. No, that might not be true. I don't remember. I don't really remember all the other Wii U games that were coming out around this time. I just remember this came out in late 2015, literally a year, almost exactly a year before the Switch was revealed, I think. But it was still worth people's time, for sure. If you had a Wii U, I think that this game was well worth your time. I mean, it's Super Mario Maker. I really am just doing that with every game. Alright, next we got Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. So if you know me, you know I love the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. I was obviously going to get this game. There was no question about it. I got the 3DS version. I love the 3DS version. Even before I got the 3DS version, I was like, I am getting the Wii U version. Because stuff kept coming out. Yeah, stuff kept coming out about this game, talking about how the two versions would sync in some way, and they would, like, if you got both, like, the content would transfer between both versions and whatnot. And even that, like, even without that, I still wanted to get both versions, just because, I mean, it's Smash Brothers, man. You get, if you're a Nintendo fan and you have the latest Nintendo console, you're gonna get the Smash Brothers that's on that console. It's just it's inevitable. Smash Brothers is so fun. I think this is probably my second favorite Smash Brothers game. I mean, no, Ultimate's pretty good. I feel like Ultimate's probably my second favorite. Brawl is my favorite. I think Ultimate's probably my second favorite. I think this one's probably third. It's probably third, just because I got so much playtime out of it. Maybe the 3DS version is my third, and then this one is fourth. Because I feel like you know what? No, I feel like I enjoyed this version more. I feel like I played this one a lot more. Well, I feel like I played the 3DS version a lot more with my friends, because we'd like play it together at school and stuff. But I remember playing this, like, anytime I would hang out with my friends, like, and we were at someone's house for like a sleepover, we would play this game. That, it was just so fun. It was so, like, they really were just perfecting the Smash Bros. Formula at this point. And there was so much content in this game. Like, it's insane. And between both versions, there was so much content. Like, it's crazy how much content was in these games. I think this was like the reason to buy a Wii U. And I think this really did push a lot of people to actually buy a Wii U, even if this was the only thing, this and Mario Kart, if these were the only two things that they wanted a Wii U for, they would buy it. Granted, not a lot of people bought the Wii U in general, but if you did, you were gonna get this game. I mean, it's Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, man. What else can be said? Okay, we have two more games. I'm almost out of breath, but we have two more games here. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. I think I got this a couple months into having a Wii U, because I was like, you know what? I want a Zelda game. I never really played a lot of Zelda games. I was not the biggest Zelda fan, as I've said before. But I remember seeing footage of this game, and I was like, I think if I was going to get into any Zelda game, it was going to be this one, because it looked so just cartoony, and I like the cartoony style. I like the cell-shaded visuals. The updated visuals that they gave it for the Wii U version. And just the fact that this game looked so fun, like just going on this big, like, you know, like pirate adventure on the open seas and sailing with your boat. It just looked really appealing to me. It just looked really just like a fun adventure to have. And I did play through most of this game. Like this I probably made the most progress in this Zelda game specifically, as opposed to like every other Zelda game I've played before. I never beat it, unfortunately. I think I got stuck at the Triforce Quest portion of the game, which is I think where a lot of people would get stuck. But I just never like pushed myself to like beat it or go any further than that, unfortunately. Even though I feel like I should have, because I feel like this game was really fun. And I really wish that I could say that I beat it, but I never did. But nevertheless, this is a phenomenal game, phenomenal Zelda game, phenomenal Wii U game. I love this game. It might even be my favorite Zelda game in general, which is not saying a lot because I'm not like the big Zelda fan. But in general, I think this is probably, it's up there. If it's not my favorite, it's up there. Maybe Minish Cap might be my favorite, but this one's definitely up there. And finally, we have, brace yourselves, people, Wii Party U. I'm kind of disappointed that we're ending on this because I don't actually, no, I do have some stuff to say. I'm not going to say I have nothing to say about this game, because I do. I don't quite remember why I wanted this game. I think I just wanted another fun multiplayer game, and I knew like Mario Party was a big hit, and I was like, huh, Wii Party U. Wii Party with you. Yeah, it sounds fun, right? It sounds fun when you say it in that way, right? Yeah, right, guys? Anyway, no, I think a part of the reason why I got this game was because it came with a Wii remote, and I needed another like Wii remote for my Wii U. And so I was like, it comes with the game, might as well. I don't think it was like that much more to get this and the Wii U and the Wii controller than as opposed to just getting the Wii controller. Because I think you had to get this bundled with the Wii remote. I think it was probably because obviously it's a party game. You're going to want at least one more Wii remote besides the one that came with your Wii or your Wii U. So like it made sense. But, you know, like overall, this game is interesting. I'm hesitant to say it's bad, but if you're gonna play a party game on the Wii, just play Mario Party. Maybe not Mario Party 10, because I hear that's not the best game, but you can get Mario Party 2 on the Virtual Console, and that one's probably your best bet. You're gonna have to get some classic controllers, but you know, you can do it. But honestly, I have a lot of weird niche fond memories of this game, just because I remember playing it with one of my friends specifically a lot, and I think that we just laughed a lot at this game because of how silly it was. There was specifically one specific board, because it's a board game. It's like Mario Party in the sense that it's like a virtual board game where you play mini games in between the rounds. But I remember specifically there was this one board that was based on like fashion, where you had to like go and like complete like an outfit. We played that specific board so much and just like had such a fun time just laughing at it, just playing through it. I just remember I have a lot of fond memories from that specific time, and I think that this game like I attribute a lot of those fond memories to the fact that they were from this game, like, and just I think that alone like justifies owning this game to me overall. So I don't regret getting this game at all. It's Wii Party U. So would I say that I recommend it? Fuck it. Yeah, no. I say you have not lived until you buy a Wii U and buy Wii Party U and play on the fashion board. I'm just going to go out and say that. Might be a controversial opinion, but I don't care. Fuck you. Also, that's my Wii U game collection. Hope you enjoyed. For any future employers or acquaintances, here's why you shouldn't respect me. This is my Nintendo Switch game collection. I've had a Switch for a little over 2 years at the time of recording this video, and in that time, these are all of the games that I've collected for it. Dear God, what is wrong with me? No, but in all seriousness, you know, the Switch is my most played console. I mean, it's the only console that I have on hand most of the time. So naturally, anytime I'm in the mood to play some games, I play some Switch games, you know what I mean? So I have a lovely little collection here that I'd love to talk about and just kind of, you know, give a little bit of commentary on why I wanted these specific games, or, you know, what they mean to me and all that jazz. Figured that might make for a little bit of a interesting-ish video if you're into that kind of stuff. Either way, we have quite the selection of games to go through here, so let's get started. I'm gonna try to go through these in the order that I got them, but that, of course, relies on me remembering the order that I got these games, which I may not remember exactly one-to-one with the actual timeline of events that occurred. But we're gonna see how things go. So I do remember the first game that I ever actually got for the Switch, or that I ever actually got for myself, essentially. Not the first game I played, but the first game that I ever got on the Switch was Animal Crossing New Horizons. So basically, I didn't have a Switch for a while after it came out, about 3 years. And around the time that this game was coming out, my friend had just recently gotten a new Switch because he had one of the original models and he wanted to get one of the new ones that had better battery life and better whatever. I think it was mainly better battery life. And also, by then, the Switch had been out for 3 years. He had his Switch for 3 years. So basically, he got a new Switch, and he let me borrow his old one until I was able to get one for myself. Because at the time, the pandemic had just started. Switches were already kind of not very prevalent in stores. So he let me borrow his, which was really nice of him. And this was the first game that I got. On the same day that he gave me his Switch, I bought this game alongside him. And I was super excited. I love Animal Crossing. And this game was highly anticipated for a long time. And did it meet the hype? Did it live up to the hype? I would argue it did. I would argue that, at least at the time when it came out, this game was everything that we wanted. It was an escape from reality, from the harsh, pandemic-filled world that we were all living in. There was a lot to it. There was crafting. There was all of our favorite characters were back. Of course, we had to wait for a lot of free updates to come out before a lot of other things were added into the game. But we eventually got most of everything that we could ask for. Overall, I think that this is a wonderful game. I think New Leaf is always going to mean a lot to me. I guess a little bit more so than this game, just because I played it when I was little. I have a lot of nostalgia for New Leaf. But I think that New Horizons is still a very great Animal Crossing game and a very great package. Definitely a game that I think most, if not all, Switch owners should own. So, and I stand by that. So, Animal Crossing was the first game that I ever got. I believe the second game that I ever got for the Switch, naturally, was, if I can find it here. Where is it? Here it is. Was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I feel like this is probably not very much of a surprise because this is a game that many people that have a Switch would naturally buy, because Smash Bros. It's Smash Bros. You're not gonna not get Smash Brothers for your new Switch. That's a thing that you're guaranteed to do, and that was a thing that I did. Mainly so I could play online during, of course, when the pandemic was happening. I wanted some online games to play, and I had Animal Crossing, of course, but this was another game that, a lot of my friends that had Switches also had, so I was like, okay, well, might as well get Smash Brothers, and I'm definitely not in regret that I got it, because Smash Brothers is a wonderful game. It's a wonderful franchise. Smash Brothers Ultimate is, in my opinion, the best game in the series. Maybe some people would argue with me, but I feel like a lot of people would probably agree. At least at this point, when it came out, maybe you'd have some things to say about that. I feel like now with the Fighters Pass and all of the features that they've added to the game, and free updates and whatnot, I think that this is the definitive Smash Brothers package. I mean, of course, it's literally Smash Brothers Ultimate. But yeah, this was. I think that this is another must-buy for any Switch owner. It's just even if you're not really into fighting games, you can still have fun with this game, and a lot of fun, in my opinion. So it's definitely very great. Definitely don't regret getting that game. I believe the next game that I technically got for my Switch, even though I didn't actually have the physical copy at first, was Pokemon Shield. So I'm a huge Pokemon fan. Some of you may know that. And I always regretted the fact that I missed out on playing Pokemon Shield, when it first came out, because by the time when it came out, I didn't have a Switch, but I still was heavily, invested in the Pokemon franchise at the time. So even though I didn't have the game, I still knew about all the new Pokemon. I still basically knew about the entirety of what was in store for me if I was to play this game. Like, I knew the story, I knew the legendaries, I knew basically everything about Sword and Shield. And then I actually finally got to play it in the summer of 2020. And overall, I had fun with it. I actually clocked in a lot of hours in this game, mainly because, you know, I'm really into the competitive side of Pokemon. I'm not going to go too much into that because I know a lot of people don't want to hear about that. But yeah, so and there's a lot to love about these games, especially with the DLC. I did get the DLC for this game. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to really like about these games. As polarizing as they are, because they were really polarizing when they were coming out, just because of like the no national decks and the whole no national decks thing and all that. But even now, I feel like, a lot of people would argue that these games weren't that great. Maybe in a couple years, people will get nostalgia for them and we'll start actually be able to look at the positive sides of it. But at least right now, in the current state of the world, that's a weird way to put that, but yeah, you get what I mean. I don't feel like Pokemon Sword and Shield are loved a whole lot, but I enjoyed my time playing this game, so I don't regret playing it. But originally, I didn't get the physical copy at first. I game shared this game with one of my friends, and because I wanted to see if I really would like it, because I was a little worried that I wasn't going to like it when I first decided to play it, but I ended up enjoying it, so I bought it for myself, and I don't regret it. Would I say it's a must-buy for the Switch? Probably not. I think if you already have an interest in Pokemon, it's worth a try. If you don't really have any interest in the franchise, I don't feel like it's going to do you any favors, but I enjoyed it for what it was. So that was the third game I ever got for the Switch. I believe the next game that I got on the Switch was this little game right here. You might have heard of it, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And here's the thing. I am not a huge Zelda guy. A lot of you watching who might know me in real life probably know that. Well, okay, I like the Legend of Zelda franchise. I haven't played as many of the games as I wish I have. I've played a good amount of Zelda games. I haven't really finished many of them, if any of them. And so, I was interested in getting this game, but really what pushed me to get this game were my friends, because all of my friends that had played Breath of the Wild loved it. They recommended it to me. They were like, you need to get Breath of the Wild. That needs to be one of the first games that you get on the Switch. And so it was. And so I did. This was like literally the fourth game that I ever actually bought for myself on the Switch. I have not played this game in probably 2 years, and I haven't beat it at all, obviously. If I haven't played it in 2 years, I didn't beat it back then. I haven't beaten it since. I definitely want to play it. It's just a matter of finding the time and motivation to actually sit down and play it, because there's so many other games that have preoccupied my time, and I could sit here and make excuses, but overall, just haven't made time to play this game. But it looks really great. I know how beloved it is. I know how many people say it's like the best Zelda game or one of the best Zelda games. So I definitely want to play it. Open world games are great. It's on my list. It's on my list. I just don't know exactly when I'm going to get to it, but someday I will. I promise you. Now, here's where things get tricky, because I got a lot of Switch games around the time of Black Friday that year. And I'm trying to remember. Oh, okay, no. I remember what game I got next, because this game literally came out right after I bought Breath of the Wild. This game actually came out, and that was Super Mario 3D All-Stars. So this is another sort of polarizing game in the community of Switch players and Mario players, because when this game was announced, there was a lot of hype for it. At least before we knew much about it. It was really cool that we were getting Super Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy in one package. Super Mario 64 wasn't on the Switch yet because they didn't have the Nintendo 64 online package. Super Mario Sunshine had never been re-released, like ever. This was the first time it had ever been officially re-released by Nintendo. And then Super Mario Galaxy is just a great game. Like, what about this package was so polarizing? Well, as you may or may not know, this was a limited time release. This was out in September of 2020, and it was no longer being manufactured to be put in stores by March of 2021. And so, there was a lot of people that, rushed out to go get this game because they were like, well, I can't miss the, sorry, excuse me. I can't miss my my chance to buy this game because it's a limited time release. I gotta buy it now. And then when you actually buy it, you realize how little is actually in this game besides the 3 games here. There's very little, because this was released for, I believe, Mario's 35th anniversary, or at least this was one of the games that was announced for that event, for Mario's 35th anniversary. And there's really not much about this package specifically that celebrates Mario as a franchise, besides the fact that you get the 3 most iconic 3D Mario games. You get the soundtracks for the games. That's all you really get. That's all you really get with this game. And, you know, excuse me, a lot of people didn't really think that that was enough. And, you know, I'm actually one of those people. I think that they could have easily included more in this game to make it well worth the $60 price point, to make it worth buying during the limited time release. I mean, you can, I have no doubt that you can find copies of this game pretty easily, even though it's technically not being manufactured anymore, because it's a Mario game. So many people probably own it. So many people, you know, like, so many people have had access to this game. Like, there's no, it was mass produced, you know, like there's no shortage of this game in existence. Even if you didn't want, you know, like, there's other ways to play these 3 games other than this package. Mario Sunshine's a little bit harder, but obviously there's ways to play these games. Anyway, I've been talking about this game for a while, but essentially this game was very polarizing, but that doesn't change the fact that I think it's a great game for Mario players. Mario Galaxy is a great game. Everyone knows that. Mario 64 is a great game. Everyone knows that. Mario Sunshine's a little bit more on the kind of side of things. I haven't actually got around to playing Mario Sunshine. Definitely want to. It's definitely on my backlog. But I know a lot of people are a little like iffy about that game. But I know a lot of people that like it. So, you know, I definitely want to give it a try. Overall, I enjoyed this game. Don't regret buying it. But I can see why people have some problems with it. Moving on, finally, to the next game that I got, if I can remember. Ooh, I think... Okay, so this was, like I was saying, this was around the time of Black Friday, so I got a couple games around this time. And I want to say that the first game of that lineup that I actually got was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. I want to say that that was one of the first games that I bought around that time. So here's the thing. Like I said earlier, I'm a big Pokemon fan, and this was always a very elusive game to me, because even when it was first announced, I was like, I don't really know if this is for me, because, you know, this game is definitely more geared towards people that aren't really acquainted with Pokemon, or people that have really only played Pokemon Go, which you know what, I think it's actually good that they're kind of trying to find a way to get more people into Pokemon, even though, you know, Pokemon is already such a big popular franchise. There's always potential for more fans, and I think it's great when we're open more fans to the franchise. So, you know, it makes sense that they decided to make this game. That being said, I really am not the biggest fan of this game. It's just, I really do prefer the more traditional Pokemon style of you know, battling and catching in a more, like, definitely like a more traditional way. Because, you know, this game, you know, the catching method, you don't even battle wild Pokemon. You catch them like you would in Pokemon Go. That's the whole shtick with this game. Other than that, it's just a remake of, you know, Red and Blue, the original Pokemon games, or Fire Red and Leaf Green to a lesser extent. And it's not a bad remake. It's not a bad remake. I mean, the original games, you know, there's always going to be fans for those. And I just think that overall, it's just a very basic Pokemon game, and that's saying a lot. It's very much geared towards new fans or smaller children, and as someone who is not a new fan and is not a small child, it was a little hard for me to get into this game. In fact, I don't think I ever actually beat it. But that being said, if you're not into Pokemon, this isn't your worst means of getting into the franchise. So I will give it credit for that, but just wasn't really for me. Now, there are 3 games that I remember getting around this time that were part of this whole Black Friday deal that I was partaking in the tail end of 2020. And I want to say Okay, I know that okay, wait, no. There was one game that I got before that. Splatoon 2. So, you know, Splatoon, I never actually owned the original Splatoon on the Wii U. And so, you know, this was a game that I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to pick this up because I really wanted to try out Splatoon, see what it was all about, see why so many people liked it. I played it for a good amount of time, and I definitely see the enjoyment. I think overall, I'm not the most into like competitive shooter games, but even still, this is probably the easiest competitive shooter game for me to get into because it just has really great like personality and, you know, that Nintendo charm that you see in a lot of their other games. And the gameplay is really fun. Like, I'm not going to knock it down. I'm not going to pretend like it's not fun. This is a really fun game. Splatoon 2. Splatoon as a franchise is just a really great concept and, you know, a really great execution. I mean, hell, there's 3 Splatoon games and it's only been a franchise for what, like 7 years. So like, this, you know, for a competitive shooter, that's pretty good because, like, you know, competitive shooters, they don't necessarily always need new entries right away. So the fact that Nintendo was like pouring, you know, time and resources into this game shows how much people like it. That being said, I wasn't the most into it, but it still was really fun. If you're not really into competitive shooter games, it's not the best, it's not the worst, I should say, worst way to get into them if you want to try them out. Now, let's see here. So, okay, I guess the first game I'll talk about, because I do think I remember the order that I got these, was Luigi's Mansion 3. So this was another game that I really wanted because I never played the original Luigi's Mansion. I played Dark Moon, really liked Dark Moon. And when I saw that they were making a third Luigi's Mansion game, I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. Like, and this is probably everything that people wanted in a Luigi's Mansion sequel. I'm not going to, like, I don't feel like that's like a huge claim to make because I know a lot of people loved this game, myself included. I love this game. I think Dark Moon, the thing about Dark Moon was that it was restricted to the handheld form factor, right? So, like, you know, it was great that they were able to make a Luigi Mansion sequel and have it running on the 3DS. It was a great game for what it was. It was great that it was portable. For a portable game, it was a really great game. That being said, I think that there's just too many restrictions and things that you have to account for when you're making a primarily handheld version of a game or sequel to a game in contrast to what you can do on a home console. I mean, obviously the Switch is technically portable, but, you know, to me it'll always be primarily a home console. And so, you know, and overall there was just a lot that they were able to do with this game that they weren't really able to do with Dark Moon. More expansive areas, one really big expansive area more so, you know, a lot more like that you could do in terms of functioning with the mechanics of the game. I don't know if that made any sense. There's a lot more that you can do with like Luigi's Vacuum is what I'm trying to say. And overall, I just think, you know, this is a more definitive Luigi's Mansion sequel. And I don't feel like that's that controversial of an opinion. Definitely a really great game. I can see why so many people like it. I mean, hell, I think it's actually in the top 10 Switch games. If I'm not mistaken, I think it is. And you know what? I think it deserves that spot. I love Luigi's Mansion. Next, so I guess I'll talk, I don't have much to say about this. I got Spyro's Reignited Trilogy, mainly because it was on sale, and I've always wanted to try out like the Spyro games, or more specifically like the retro Sony platformers, like Crash Bandicoot. I don't actually have the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, but that is a game that I am interested in getting someday. But the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, you know, I knew Spyro because I had Skylanders back in the day, and I really wanted to just see like where his roots were and like what he's got going on, like why people love the character so much. So I got the Reignited Trilogy and I played a good amount of it. Definitely can see the charm. I think it was a little harder for me to get into this in comparison to like other 3D platformers, but I can definitely see why people have fond memories of playing Spyro. Definitely respect him for his roots, and I am excited to get to getting around to finishing this game at some point in the future. Next, we have, I believe, Fire Emblem Three Houses. So, you may or may not have noticed that this game is not open yet. So, I don't even know where to begin. So, okay, so this was another game that I got around the time of Black Friday. And I think I got them in like a 3-game deal. I think I got this, Spyro's Reignited Trilogy, and Luigi's Mansion all for like a discounted price, which was pretty good. Why did I get this game? A game that I have not even opened. And keep in mind, I got this around September or November of 2020. Why is this still sealed? So here's the thing. At first, it was because I had this sort of rule where I was like, I'm not going to open another one of the games that I have until I finish. Like at the time I had started Luigi's Mansion 3, so I was like, I'm not going to open this game until I finish Luigi's Mansion 3. So, you know, I played Luigi's Mansion 3 for a good amount of time, then I kind of fell off of it, never got around to opening this game. Then I finally finished Luigi's Mansion, and instead of going to this game, I played a totally different game that I had, that I had just gotten recently. So you know, Fire Emblem Three Houses just kind of sat there, unopened, and that's where it sits today. And at this point, it's kind of just a joke to me. Like, I think I kind of just keep it sealed for the fun, for the humor of it. But, you know, basically, I have no experience with the Fire Emblem franchise. But, you know, I was really interested in playing it. And so, you know, like giving it a try. And I just realized I actually went a little out of order in my games because there's a reason why I got this game other than what I've been saying so far. And I'll get to that in a second. But basically, I wanted to give this game a try. Never actually got around to it. I will eventually, because I know how much people love Fire Emblem, and I want to see what all the hubbub is about. You know what I mean? I want to try to see if I can understand the appeal. So one day I will get to this game, but not quite. So something that I failed to mention is that one of the biggest reasons that I got that game was because only a month prior, in October of 2020, I got this game. Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle. So, yeah, I remember I got this game as an early Christmas gift. And it was only early because I believe my mom purchased it for me, and because she knew that I liked Mario, and I think I maybe had mentioned to her that I wanted this game. But she got this for me, which was pretty nice of her. I think that she basically somehow revealed to me that she got it for me before Christmas time. So she was like, you can just have it. So that's when I started playing this game. And this actually really surprised me how much I liked this game. One, because it's a tactical RPG. Two, it's a Mario & Rabbids game. Like, I know that we got a sequel to this recently, but it's such a weird concept for a game. And I remember hearing that it was good back when it came out, back when I didn't have a Switch. But, you know, I always was like curious to get it. And then, you know, I finally got a chance to play it, and I was like, wow, I actually really enjoyed this more than I thought I was going to. I think it's just because, you know, it's a tactical RPG in the style of Fire Emblem. But it's very much, it has a lot of that Mario charm to it and simplicity. And I really like that because it's, for me, someone who is not an avid tactical RPG player, you know, it's harder for me to get into those types of games. So having a game kind of walk you through it in a lot more of an easy and manageable way was really nice for me. And I have yet to beat this game because it actually gets pretty challenging later on, in my opinion. But what I have played of it, and I have played a good amount of it. In fact, I think I played through the entirety of the DLC, and I haven't even beat the main story because the DLC is really fun too. Yeah, I really enjoy this game, and this got me interested in playing other tactical RPGs, which is why I ended up getting Fire Emblem. So that's a good one. Definitely like that game. I think I know what the next game I got was. I believe. Oh wait, no, I missed a game. Ring Fit Adventure. So this is kind of a weird game, or I guess this kind of stands out in my collection here. But basically, around the time of Black Friday, my mom had like this deal at Best Buy where if she spent a certain amount of credit, she would get like something for like a good amount off. And my mom really likes deals. So she basically was like, hey, I will get you something from Best Buy that you want because I want to use this credit or get this credit that I am told that I would get. So I was like, okay, maybe just like Ring Fit Adventure, because I heard that this game was good. One of my friends, I think, had it, and he told me that it was pretty fun. It's basically like it's an exercise game. You get like this big ring that you like this thing right here. You get like a real life like component to mirror this, and it's basically like an RPG / adventure game. Where you do exercises to defeat the monsters, and I think that that's fun, and I always thought that that was a fun idea. It's definitely a very Nintendo idea. So, you know, in the very much of the style of like Wii Fit and, you know, the games that Nintendo pushes that are a little bit more like casual or, you know, more friendly towards like, you know, people that aren't necessarily like hardcore gamers, and I like that. So I was interested in this, and I have played it, haven't beaten it all, but I've played a good amount of it, and I can definitely say it's a pretty good game. I like it for what it is. It's very fun. You know, it actually makes exercising a little bit more fun if you're not really used to it. And I'm not. At least when I was playing this a good amount, I was not really used to exercising. So this was a fun time. I don't regret getting this and playing it. Now we move on to probably one of my favorite games in my collection overall. Might not be much of a surprise. Super Mario Odyssey. What is there to say about this game that hasn't already been said? This is like it's the definitive 3D Mario game. I don't feel like that's that much of a stretch. Everything that you like about 3D Mario is in this game. I can guarantee you about that. The platforming is great. The power-ups are great. I mean, the power-ups are more so like what you can transform into with the cap transformations or whatever. You know, the level design is great. There's expansive worlds. It looks great. It plays beautifully. The controls are they're immaculate, for lack of a better way of putting it. It's a great game. This is like, and I remember playing this around the time that it came out on my friend's Switch, and I don't know why, but I thought to myself, this is overwhelming. I remember thinking that when I played this, and maybe that's just because I didn't have a Switch at the time, and I wasn't used to playing Switch games, and I hadn't played like a 3D Mario game in a while, but I remember thinking that this is overwhelming. I don't think I would like this game. And now I'm just sitting here thinking like, why did I ever think that? I love this game. I love this game so much. It was so fun. I haven't actually gotten all the moons in it, but it's a great Mario game. I recommend it to anybody who has a Switch, anybody who, I mean, I feel like most people that have a Switch have played this game. If you don't own it, you've played it at least. Like it's Super Mario Odyssey. It's not, it's like, it's so good. It's so freaking good. Everything, like this is like Mario fans' Breath of the Wild, in my opinion. And I feel like that's not much of a stretch to say because they came out in the same year. Yeah, it's just really good. I feel like most people know that about that game. All right, now let's see here. This is where things get a little bit more tricky. What game did I get next? I don't think I actually got a lot of Switch games for a while until I believe, let's see here, because I got a lot of these games more so late last year. I feel like the next game I got was probably new Pokemon Snap. I want to say that that's what the next game I got was. This was like late 2021. I remember when this game was announced, I was really excited for it because I never had gotten a chance to play the original Pokemon Snap, and I love Pokemon, and I just figured this would be a really fun time. I've played through most of this. I don't think I beat it. A lot of these games I've played through a good amount, but I haven't actually beat them. But I've played through this game. It's great. I love this game. You know, going around in these lush environments, watching Pokemon interact, taking pictures of them. It's a great time. If you're a Pokemon fan, I feel like you're gonna get enjoyment out of this. If you're not a Pokemon fan, even if you're not a Pokemon fan, I feel like you'll get enjoyment out of this just because it's really fun watching all these creatures run around in their natural habitat and watching how they interact. And you know, like there's so many different like biomes and paths you can take and Pokemon to see. It's just really fun. It's a really enjoyable time. And I can definitely see why so many people love the original Pokemon Snap. If it was anything like this, which obviously it was, but this is definitely like the definitive Pokemon Snap. I mean, there's only two, but like this one is just like you gotta play this one. You gotta play this one. I'm sure the original is great. I'm not discounting the original, but that game, oof, so good. All right, I think the next game that I got was this little game right here, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. So I was one of the, you know, maybe like one of the like 10 people that bought a Wii U or that had a Wii U. And so I had Super Mario 3D World. That was one of the first games I got on my Wii U. And I loved it back then. I remember people kind of being like, oh, I wish this was a better, like, a big 3D Mario game, like Super Mario 64 and all that. And so it kind of got a little bit of, like, hate around that time. Or maybe not hate is the right way to put it, but, like, it was a little bit more controversial back then just because we hadn't had, like, a big 3D Mario game in a while and people were getting a little antsy. Now we obviously have Super Mario Odyssey, but at the time we didn't have that. So, you know, when this game came out, a lot of people were like, oh, I don't know about that. When the original came out, not this one specifically, but I really loved the original Super Mario 3D World. And so when I saw that they were giving this a remake, or, you know, like re-releasing it on the Switch, I was like, oh, that's great. Like, that's gonna, like, you know, we already have Super Mario Odyssey, so people can't really say much about that anymore. We have a 2D Mario game on the system, and now we have, like, sort of the 2D 3D hybrid game on the console, and I thought that was just a natural, like, this game is a natural fit on the Switch in my opinion. And you get Bowser's Fury with it if you get this specific game. And at the time, I remember when they announced the original, like the remake, it just looked like, oh cool, we're getting Super Mario 3D World on the Switch, that's great. And then they announced that they had this Bowser's Fury thing, and I was like, whoa, what the heck is that? What does that mean? And now that I own this game and I've played it, I know what it means, and I think it's great. I think Bowser's Fury just makes it makes this like a must buy, in my opinion. I think that if you're a Mario fan, and even if you're just like a general Switch fan or Switch player, I think that there's a lot to get out of this game. You get like the normal Mario, like Super Mario 3D World is a great game. I don't need to elaborate on that. It's a great platforming game. It's super fun. There's multiplayer. It's a great game. Bowser's Fury makes it like it's perfect. It's like if you're not as much of a fan of this style of Mario, you got this style of Mario, and this can get into Mario Odyssey potentially. And it's like, why would you not get this game? It's a great game. I love this game. I think that this is a wonderful Switch game. Next, what do we got next? I believe the next game that I got was Pokemon Shining Pearl. Yes, I do believe this was the next game that I got. So what is there to say about Pokemon Shining Pearl? Well, it's definitely a Pokemon game. It's definitely a remake of the original Pokemon Pearl version, and it's also kind of a stupid bad game. So here's the thing about this game. It's very much obvious how rushed this game was. I didn't word that exactly perfectly. Any previous English teacher I've had that's watching this video potentially, I'm sorry, but overall, it's so obvious like how rushed this game was, and just I don't know, like there's so much about this game that I wish was better. Because I love the original Diamond and Pearl. I was so excited that they were getting remakes. I was willing to get past the fact that they were going to be like chibi, like very one-to-one style remakes. You know, even though I kind of wanted the more like advanced, you know, like modern style of Pokemon, you know, with the remakes of Gen 4. I wanted that. I was willing to put up with the fact that they weren't doing that. What I'm not willing to put up with is how actually bad quality this is for a Switch game. For a $60 release, no less. It's just, I just wish it was better. There were so many bugs. There were so many like little annoying things that they could have fixed about the game easily. There's so much about this game that I wish was better, and I feel bad to say that, but that's just the truth. Overall, though, you know, I don't regret playing it and trying it out. There is a lot to like about this game, but it's just not my favorite. It's not my favorite Switch game. Or it's not my favorite Pokemon game on the Switch by a long shot. In fact, I probably like New Pokemon Snap more than it. I don't know how polarizing that opinion is, but that's just what I think. Anyway, moving on. I think the next game that I got, yes, I believe it was this one, the good Pokemon Switch game from around the time of winter 2021. So obviously this game came out at the beginning of 2022. I was super excited for it. It looked unlike any other Pokemon game that we had at this point, and I was so excited to try it out, and I don't regret trying it out at all. I think that this is a amazing Switch game. It's an amazing Pokemon game. Even if you've played like other open world games, like I don't even know what to say. I don't want to. I haven't played a lot of games, so I don't want to make any big claims here. Overall, I think that this is a great Pokemon game. There's a lot, like they improved the Pokemon formula so much in this game and evolved it, and just little things about it Like, the battles are faster. The catching Pokemon mechanic is faster. You know, the move animations, the actual animations of the Pokemon, the world, you know, maybe the graphics leave a little bit to be desired, but overall, like, this is a great package, you know what I mean? And it's just, I think I'm running out of things to say because, like, this game, it just, like, it captures my heart. Like, it makes me speechless. Okay, I don't know if I want to go that far, but it's a great game. I really like Pokemon Legends Arceus. I feel like, I don't know if I'd recommend it to people that aren't into Pokemon, because I definitely think it appeals more to people that are into Pokemon and generally enjoy the concept of Pokemon. But overall, I like this game. That's my final verdict. Next, the next game that I got, believe it or not, was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So, you know, you may be asking yourself right now, how did I not already own this game? Well, here's the thing. I already had Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. I wasn't in the most rush to get another Mario Kart or get, you know, have the ability to play Mario Kart on my Switch, because I didn't really feel like I was going to be playing it very much, because I already had other multiplayer games that I was playing with my friends a good amount. And overall, I was just like, you know, I already have Mario Kart 8 with all the DLC, and what is there about this specific package that makes it like a must buy for me? And now that I actually have it, I definitely see why. I mean, I think I got this a little after they announced the Booster Course Pass. And I think that was probably like the last push I needed to buy to actually get this game. Because overall, this is a really great game. Like, in terms of Mario Kart games, it's a no-brainer. It's like the definitive Mario Kart game. And even in terms of a Switch game, it's great. Like, I think that there's so much to this game. Like, it perfects Mario Kart, and I feel like it's a Switch game that literally anyone can enjoy. Like, and I mean, like, it's the best-selling Switch game. Like, I feel like that's almost like there's no point in making that claim because so many people own this game and love this game. But even if you have played all the Mario Karts and you have Mario Kart 8, the original Mario Kart 8 with all the DLC, I still think this is worth getting just because of just how perfect of a package it is. And now that you got the Booster Course Pass, I feel like there's even more to enjoy about this. If you feel like the Booster Course Pass is worth it for you, I think it was definitely worth it for me. I mean, obviously they're still coming, at the time of recording this, they're still releasing the tracks, but I don't regret buying it at all. So overall, really enjoy this game. Next, okay, we have a few more games to go through here. I believe the next game that I got was, I think it was this one. I think it was Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. So I don't really know what to say. So, okay, I like Rayman Legends. I had it on the Wii U. So you may be asking, why did I get it again? Well, I remember playing it on the Wii U with my aunt. That was like something that we did together just to like find a means to hang out. And I always thought that was fun. And so I got this because I just thought it'd be cool to like relive those memories with her and just kind of like play through the game again. And we haven't played through all of it yet, but we did play through a good amount of it, and it brought back so many great memories. Don't regret buying this. And overall, like, I don't know if Rayman is for everyone, but I definitely enjoy it for what it is. And that's all that I really have to say about it. Next, I think the next game that I got was this one, Puyo Puyo Tetris. So I like Tetris. I enjoy Tetris a good amount. Always had a fascination with this specific version of Tetris because I know a lot of people like it. But you know, I'm not like the biggest puzzle game guy, so I was a little skeptical about getting it, but I heard good things about it. And I heard that people liked it. I never knew what Puyo Puyo was. I still don't quite know. No, no, but I've played this game a good amount with my friends, and I remember getting it and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And I tried playing it and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. And then I showed it to my friends and we all like started playing it together. I think I actually convinced my friends to get this game, or most of them at least, and we all would play it together, and we had like a really great time with it. So yeah, it's definitely a fun time. If you like puzzle games, I feel like it's a no-brainer. If you're not the biggest fan of puzzle games, maybe don't get it. I don't know. I mean, it's a fun time. I quite enjoy this as a package, and it was only like 20 bucks, I think. So I was like, sure, why not? The next game that I remember getting, I believe, was Paper Mario: The Origami King. So many people might be asking, like, why did you decide to get this? Because, you know, a lot of people, this is another polarizing one. You know, I really like the original Paper Mario games. Never really got why they had such a drastic change in the style of these games, because I just feel like the original style worked so well. I mean, obviously, you know, they've came out with like interviews with the developers, and they've been talking like, oh, we just want to make more creative things or whatever. I don't know exactly what they were saying. Overall, don't quite know why Paper Mario took such a polarizing shift in turn in terms of like quality and you know, overall. Well, I don't know if I want to say quality, because this is a good game. Sorry, I keep on starting sentences but not finishing them. Overall, I think I like this game. Did I finish it? No. Was it because I didn't like it? No. I just got caught up with other things. But overall, I quite enjoy this game. I think that there's actually a lot to like about this game, in spite of the fact that it's not a traditional RPG like a lot of people wanted. I think that there's a lot to love about this game. And I do think that in terms of overall, like the Paper Mario franchise, I think it was a step in the right direction. I think it gave us more of what we wanted out of Paper Mario games. Overall, the reason why I even started playing this is because my friend Game shared it with me, because I was curious to try it out. I tried it, and I actually got a good amount of enjoyment out of it, and that's why I bought it for myself. And overall, I think it's worth trying. If you are a little bit on the fence about like the new style of Paper Mario, you didn't really like Sticker Star, you didn't really like Color Splash, I don't think Origami King is horrible. I think that there are things in it that make it, that, you know, leave it a little bit lesser than the original Paper Mario games, in my opinion, as much as I wish I didn't have to say that. But overall, I don't think this is a bad game. I think this is worth trying. So I quite enjoyed it. The next game that I got was Super Mario Maker 2. So why did I get Super Mario Maker 2? Well, if you couldn't already tell, I like Mario games. I like platformers. And I always I was always curious to get this game because, you know, it's infinite Mario levels. Like, at the end of the day, like, that alone as a selling point is such a big, like, it's such a big pull, or at least for me, it was such a big pull, the idea that I could just play infinite Mario levels. And there's an entire Mario game in this package, because there's a whole campaign of original levels made by Nintendo with the level editor, of course, so it's a little bit more restricted, but even still, I think that this was well worth it. Overall, I really enjoy Super Mario Maker 2, and I think that I feel like I've said this for every Mario game that I've talked about, but if you're a Mario fan, you're going to like this game. Is there even a point in saying that? I don't feel. I'm getting tired. I've been talking about a lot of games in this. I only got a couple more though, so we're in the final stretch. Next game, we got WarioWare Get It Together. So, WarioWare Get It Together is a game that I never really thought I would ever own, but what happened is my friend bought this game, and he only really played a little bit of it, and then he kind of decided he was done with it. And I remember always thinking to myself, you know what, I would totally get this game if it wasn't $50 because I just feel like, for me at least, I never have really played the closest thing to a Wario game WarioWare game that I've played is Game & Wario, and I don't feel like that specifically counts in the grand scheme of things. But I was like, you know, I did enjoy what I played of Game & Wario, and I was curious to give this game a try. So one day he was like, hey, I will sell you my copy for a discounted price if you want it. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll take it. So I bought the game off of him, and now I have it for myself. And I still haven't tried it yet, but I have it. And maybe it's just the collector's mindset in me, but just like knowing the fact that I have it just brings me joy. Call it the hoarder's mindset. I don't know. I don't know what you want to call it, but I will get around to playing this at some point. Believe you me. We only got 2 more games left, and I think I'm going to go a little out of order with this one just because I want to talk about one of these games specifically more than the other. But we're going to talk about Mario Party Superstars. This is actually the most recent Switch game I got, mainly because it was on sale for Black Friday. At the time of recording this, it's near Black Friday. So I got this game for a discounted price. I always, you know, Mario Party is such a fun franchise. You know, I've played a couple of the games. I haven't played as many as I wish I have, but the games that I have played, I've enjoyed. Even some of the more polarizing Mario Party games, I've played them, enjoyed them. I never really got super interested in getting Super Mario Party, even though I know that that one's the more popular one, mainly because it's been out for longer. But this one, I was like, I was so fascinated by this game because it's basically what we've been asking for Mario Party to be again since forever now. And so when they announced this game, I was like, I need to get this game at some point, but I didn't want to pay full price for it because at its core, this game is old material. It's old mini games, it's old boards, it's not even that many boards. There's not much new about this game, but does that make this a bad game? No, I don't think it's worth the $60 price point, I'm gonna be honest, but that's why I ended up getting it for a discounted price. And do I regret getting it at all? No, I think it's a great party game. It's a great Mario Party game specifically. They perfected the formula. They actually retooled the original formula. Like at its core, this is the original Mario Party formula. There's original boards, original mechanics, all that jazz. They perfected the original mechanics. Now that I've played this game, I can confidently say that. They took the original formula of Mario Party and just made it better, which is crazy because this was developed by the same people that made all the bad Mario Party games. So I just think that that's kind of crazy. Like they definitely like got their shit together with this game, and I'm so happy to say that. If you like Mario Party, you're gonna love this game. So I don't know how many more times I can say versions of that sentence. Finally, we arrive at another more recent game, or the second most recent game I've gotten for the Switch, Pokemon Scarlet. I actually just beat this game at the time of recording this video. And what do I have to say about this? I think, you know what? I'm just going to come out and say it. I think this is a good Pokemon game. A lot of people, I know, have been pointing out how glitchy this game is, how poorly it, runs on the Switch. And I know all that. I've experienced it. Does that detract from my enjoyment of the game? Not really, if I'm being honest. I still, maybe it's just the really deep-rooted Pokemon fan in me, but I love this game. I think that they have pushed the Pokemon series in a very good direction with this game, and I am so excited to see how it further evolves. But overall, I think that this is a great game. The Pokemon roster is great. The open world is for a Pokemon game at least, it's huge. It's very expansive. There's constantly new things around every corner. There's so much to do in the game. You can go at it at your own pace, in your own order. I think that was so overdue for Pokemon. The legendaries are cool. The post game is cool. There's so much about this game that I love. And overall, I think this is a really good Pokemon game. I think even if you're not a Pokemon fan, I want to say I recommend this because I love this game so much. Now that I've beat it, maybe it's just because it's the most recent game that I've beat out of this collection, but that's just how I feel. That's how I'm feeling right now. I think that this almost could be a better means to getting into Pokemon than Let's Go Pikachu. Almost. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to come out and say that. I'm going to go out and say that. And if you think I'm wrong, sue me. Don't actually sue me because I don't think I could financially recover from that. But overall, that's my Switch game collection. Hope you enjoyed this video. Buy Pokemon Scarlet or Violet if you haven't. And now that I have talked about Nintendo Switch games for well over 40 minutes, I can confidently say I have lost all credibility.